Good morning, Raptor Freaks. It's Monday morning, and the Raptors beat the Brooklyn Nets. That's right, snapping a three-game losing streak and beating the Nets to win the season series 3-1. Yeah, the first game of this season against the Nets, we lost, and it was a disappointing game. I was like mad. It was like last fall, and then we beat them on New Year's Day. I was at that game. That was awesome. And then we beat them more recently, and then we beat them again yesterday. And I'm glad because last year we had a hard time beating the Atlantic Division and sweeping the Sixers and getting wins over the Nets and the Celtics this season has been awesome. We didn't get a win over the Knicks, though, unfortunately. But we did get wins over the champion Celtics. And we also got wins over the Nets. So, really, really fun game to watch yesterday. It was an afternoon game. And of course, we were very active in the Raptor Freak Discord during the game, people talking, people reacting, watching the interviews and the highlights after the game with different members of the Raptor Freak family. Fantastic. I loved it. I was getting to watch the highlights of the game after the game with the super fan Monique Lawrence. And that is always a joy to be able. The new format and the new place over at Discord is going so great so far. And I'm looking forward to more opportunities to do fun stuff. In fact, later today, we're going to have a classic wrestling watch party around 8 p.m. And people that like wrestling and are interested are welcome to join us on the Discord to watch some classic wrestling later on today. And yeah, I've got a playlist already set, guys, that I put together yesterday for us to watch later. And I think y'all will be very happy. It'll be fun. Yeah. All right. Let's do the reaction to the game. We got all the other stuff. We got the straight goods. We got the Instagram stories for now. We've got the Reddit reactions, all the stuff we're doing on the Raptor Freak channel daily. Here we go. We'll start with Trevor J here with his words of wisdom. Thank you, Commissioner of Fun, Trevor J. You're a powerful force in the RFF, and we appreciate you so much. People quick to judge your decisions, but they don't even stop to see the options you didn't have. The whole story hits different when you know the whole picture. Yeah, this is the thing. People make decisions in their lives, and sometimes from the outside, you don't get it. You're like, why the hell would they do that? Like, why the hell did they make that decision? Well, without knowing the full picture, without knowing every single little thing that this person either struggles with or deals with or has to keep in mind in their life, sometimes people's decisions will not make sense to you because you don't see the whole picture. That's exactly right. And in some ways, sometimes these decisions are made by private things that you have no idea about and you should never know about because it's none of your business. So, yeah, in some ways, people need to stop judging people for choices in their lives because, listen, some people may make bad decisions and they end up being mistakes, but everybody's path is their own. And in some ways, if they made that mistake, well, that was part of their journey and what they're supposed to become. And well, that's what you have to trust in. Trust in the creator above. It makes no mistakes. He's imperfect. And that whatever happened, if it's imperfect, well, it's part of the perfect journey overall. How about that one? There you go. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. You are a wise man. That is right. Wise man. Trevor was working his food truck a little bit yesterday, and he was showing us the food on Discord. And man, you are a tempting person. You really tempted me with that fried chicken image. I was like, damn, the food looks good at Trevor J's food truck down south in Florida. Yeah, I was like, man, put me in uh, transport me down there real quick. I want to get in line. Maybe could I get a holodeck real quick from Star Trek? I want to go shoot down there and get a plate of food from Trevor's truck real quick. Oh my gosh, I wish I could have. That would have been awesome. Trevor's let me know that a former Raptor had a good game yesterday. OG Anunoby for the New York Knicks, getting 31 points with 6 threes. Yeah, I like these kind of games from OG. When OG is hot from three, he can really dial up and get going and get a 30-plus game. And I like seeing that. It struck me yesterday. We were talking just in general around the Discord that, Scotty's journey is similar to OG's in some ways. Listen, Scotty's a higher draft pick than OG. Scotty's more talented than OG. I'm not going to mince words here. That's just the damn truth. his first couple years of his career under Nick Nurse were an exploratory period, a period where in the first year of Scotty's career as rookie, he didn't really have any real duties. He was just a floater glue guy that didn't have any real responsibilities on the team as far as like leadership or anything that he had to contribute. It's just everything that Scotty was contributing in his rookie year was gravy on top. And well, the next year he had more responsibilities and more responsibilities. And now in his fourth year, he has more responsibilities and he's the focal point and the franchise player with everything kind of being built around him. Well, the first couple of years were exploratory for him to learn the NBA and get better at the NBA game. But now, what Scott's assignment is, and this is why some people are mystified with why he's not scoring as much right now. In some ways, he's laying the foundation for his NBA build house with the way of OG. OG, think about it. When he started as a Raptor, he wasn't an offensive player. He focused so much on defense and shutting down the best player on the other side. And that Scotty's in this early OG mode right now, where the thing that doesn't matter to him is scoring 30 points and getting a ton of stats. No, it matters to him to shut down Nikola Jokic. And then on the next night, Trae Young. That's what matters to Scott. And in some ways, he's in the school of Anunoby. And that means building the foundation of cutthroat, diehard, top-notch defense on any person in this league, gets that down, and then he'll start building the floors of offense on top of it. That OG Anunoby is in that phase now where we saw the last couple of years he was on the Raptors before he went to the Knicks, that he was wanting more of a piece of the pie offensively for the team and the share of carrying us with points. Well, he's continued this work in New York. Obviously, he's going to get 6 threes and hit 31 points yesterday in their game against the Suns. You know, that is fantastic. But Scotty may do the same thing. There may be very much different chapters of Scotty's career where like everybody's not that impressed with his scoring, but that's because he's building that foundational concrete that he is going to be the top defender on the Raptors. Is going to take the toughest assignment, and he needs to build up his conditioning, his energy to be able to take care of that first, just like Anunoby. And then once he's got that down, he's got that excellence on his defensive side of his game, he will start to expand his offense again, just like OG. So I would say this to Raptors fans. Let Scotty develop the player build that he wants to and that Darko is helping him build to, because this guy's going to be special. And in some ways, if he does this the OG way, he's going to be a top-notch two-way player in the future that has a lockdown defense no matter what. And then the offense will be more steady and consistent as time goes on. That is what I see. It may be that Scotty has it starting next year, that this is the year to really get good with lockdown, number one defender on the Raptors. OG's gone. And it's you, bro. You are the new OG. And well, much like OG, you're going to over focus on defense and to detriment of your offense for a little while, but you'll circle back, I'm sure. Once you feel like your standard night in, night out is consistently there on the defensive end, well, then it's going to start being okay. Scotty's ready to start scoring a bunch too. I really do believe this is what's going to happen. That Scotty, in some ways, is emulating his very good friend Anunoby in the way that he's building himself as an NBA player. I hope that doesn't scare Raptors fans off or piss them off. Why would you be mad at that? Scotty has a dedication to defense that is admirable, and I'm very happy about. Now, because he missed the game yesterday, he has to play these last 3 games to get any kind of consideration for postseason stuff. If he doesn't play the last 3 games, well, he doesn't get 65. So he's made it really tough on himself. Well, maybe not, because he's like, nah, no problem, Raptors freak. I'll play Charlotte, Dallas, and San Antonio, and I'll be done, and I'll be fine. But yeah, I really hope he does make these last games, because he doesn't have a safety net anymore, because he used it yesterday by not playing against the Nets. So Scotty has to play the last 3 games if he wants his 65 game mark. So yeah, it's very, very interesting stuff. Trevor's saying the rookie showed out in Brooklyn yesterday. Yeah, they were showing stats during the game about our rookie class and the accumulation of stats that they've gotten, and they rank very high in the 30-year history of our franchise. And in fact, I would say they may be the second best rookie class we've ever had on our team. I don't know if they're better than Fred, Jakob, and Pascal. and Norman that year when they all came out together. But they're pretty damn close. Like seriously, that statistically they were ranking first or second on pretty much all of the rookie totals for minutes, points, rebounds, assists. And that's pretty damn good. They really are getting very valuable time right now. The stuff, particularly for Shed and Walter, is extremely valuable as far as the leadership for Shed and Walter blossoming more and more as a go-to guy and also a very dependable defender, along with somebody who's got a little bit of an it factor for clutch things and just kind of making things happen in the right way for the Raptors. So yeah, we like the developments with our rookies. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we do. And that they're one of the best ever Raptor rookie classes ever in the 30-year history. They really are. They really, really, really are. Trevor J is telling me that Hakeem Olajuwon got denied access after the Houston win on Saturday night to go on the court with the team and celebrate. How the hell did they do this? What is wrong with these security guys? In some ways, these venues need to give them lists of people that, yes, you let these people through no matter what, whether it's Masai Ujiri after our championship, but Hakeem Olajuwon, what are you doing, you idiot? The most important person in the history of Houston Cougars basketball is Hakeem Olajuwon. This man won the championship back in the day, right? Didn't Phi Slamma Jamma win? Clyde Drexler, Hakeem Olajuwon back in the day. This is a dignitary. This is the most important player in the history of this college. And these security people at this game are not able to recognize him. I get it. It's on the road and it's not necessarily at Houston. But motherfucker, you don't know who the Dream is? You don't know who Hakeem Olajuwon is, jabroni? You need to brush up on your basketball history. That this is the man that got 2 titles in the middle of the 90s, one of the greatest centers to ever play in the NBA, a top-notch handball player. How the hell do you not know who the Dream is? And man, that just smacks. That's insult. Once again, there's no a better way to make somebody important feel unimportant by denying them access like this. So what an idiot. Security guard, you're a dumbass. You don't know who Hakeem Olajuwon is, and you don't know what he means to the University of Houston. Yeah, dumbass. I'm mad about this because in some ways it reminds me of what they did to Masai when we won our championship. That's so stupid. You seriously, you know what? If you work basketball events or something like that, become more of a fan, just so you're a little more literate in the history of basketball, so you don't make dumbass mistakes like don't allow a top 75 player of all time from the NBA to come on the court as alma mater just won a game. Seriously, we need more better education in this world, obviously, for all kinds of different reasons. Yeah, all kinds of different reasons. Yeah. Smooth is here. Reggie, always great to talk to you and hang out with you in the Discord. And now Smooth is feeling a lot better. In some ways, you've misguided me, Reggie, but it wasn't your fault because in some ways you were just echoing the things you were hearing from agents and fans around the Blue Jays nation. But there's a celebration that they have signed Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to a very long contract and a very, very big contract as of last night. There was speculation because he didn't do the deal at a certain point recently that it was a done deal that he was leaving after the end of the season. Reggie thought this because the representation of Guerrero had said, we're not going to do negotiations during the season. Well, the season's going on right now, and well, they've negotiated 2 terms, and that's fantastic for Blue Jays fans. I mean, it would have been sad if Vlad Guerrero Jr. had gone off in the sunset, played for a rival. Honestly, that would have been pissing people off. But no, they locked it down. And the hometown vibes are good. And it's a long-term contract. I hear it's 14 years, which is absolutely insane. That makes him a Blue Jay for life unless they trade him. And I don't know if they want to. I don't know. The one thing I will say, Raptors related to this is a good sign that Rodgers is opening up the pocketbook to keep a big superstar like this and keep them in the fold. We did hear Keith Pelly, the new head of MLSE, say that we value superstars and we value keeping franchise players and we value keeping top-notch guys that entice people to come to games. And those guys that are in those categories are people like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Scotty Barnes, and Austin Matthews. So opening up the pocketbook to sign up Vladimir Guerrero last night is a good sign for the Raptors. Let's just put it that way. I like that. I like that. You got to spend to win. And well, maybe Ed Rogers is finally figuring this out. And maybe, well, he's going to keep some good players in Toronto for the franchises that he owns. And that's what I see in this. It's really, really good news. I'm so happy for you, Reggie. I'm so happy for Blue Jays Nation in general. And I'm happy for the city and country because we're keeping Vlad Guerrero in a Blue Jays jersey. So I really do like all that, Reggie, a lot. Yeah. Trevor's saying that Raptors rookie ranks, combined stats, franchise history, gameplay, first in minutes, second in points, third in rebounds, third in assists, and other stuff. Yeah, other stuff. Yeah, they're ranking. They're ranking. And that's fantastic as a group. There's four of them, really. You could throw Shamshay in there, but he had limited NBA minutes, and he's not putting as much water in the bucket as the other four guys. And they really are getting to play a lot at the end of the season here. The quad J's, the J Rooks are all out there excelling at this point. Jamison Battle losing his mask, finally maskless and a little more free out there. But J-Mo's still wearing his. That's right. That's right. Bryce is here. Good to see our Kentucky guy, Bryce Lawson. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Bryce, we need to get you in the Discord. You're a young guy. You know about Discord, right? Well, you need to come and join the Raptor Freak Discord, man. It's a party. It's a blast in there. And we've got a good 30 members already just in 2 days, growing already quick with the diehard, the best, the top creme de la creme RFF are in there already. And we're having fun, man. It's so cool to hear everybody's voices and have more interaction. So yeah, I'm excited. We're going to start the summer right with Discord fun. So Bryce, I wouldn't want you to miss out. You got to get in there. Yeah, you want the link? I'll give you a link right now, my guy. Hang on. Let me just copy it real quick and I'll put it in the chat so you can see it. Yeah, you're a long-standing member and we need to get Bryce in there. So here it is. I just put it in the chat, my guy. You just click in there and you come on in. Bryce Lawson, bring them Kentucky vibes. That's right. That's right. Fiercey's here. Good to see MJ. I got to talk to MJ on the camera yesterday and see her and hear her voice. And it was fantastic talking to her about basketball and life and things that are going on. Always good to talk to MJ in the Discord. Good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Great win yesterday. And I appreciate how it was a collective effort. Everyone ate. I like that the bench were all double digits. Straight disrespect to Olajuwon. Yeah, I agree with this. That was very much straight disrespectful to Olajuwon. And I also like that everybody ate, as you put it. Out of all the players that played yesterday, only 2 of them did not score in double digits. And the 2 were Jamal Shed and Jacoby Walter. And those 2 guys did great contributions to the game anyway. So everybody contributed to the win against the Nets yesterday and played pretty good, pretty solidly. So we'll go look at the players of the game, the 5 stars of the game. It was cool. So one of the new things that I'm doing on Discord, guys, is I'm live picking my stars of the game after the game, where you can watch me do the process and even help me deliberate on who the stars should be. In fact, Trevor J helped me a bit last night with the stars of the game because he just happened to be there with me and kind of talking it over and mulling over who should get it, who shouldn't. So the number 1 star of the game, we both agreed, was Jonathan Mobo. He did get the chain and he did get his first ever double-double in his career, his very young career. 17 points for Jonathan on 8 of 9 shooting. So he was dialed in and making the shots. I love that. J-Mo, your position, 4-5, you should be shooting 8 of 9 on most nights because you're supposed to be up close. Now, if you're shooting a lot of threes, I get it. But man, 8 of 9 last night, that's the kind of stat line I want to see from shooting from you because you're supposed to get those dunks and those easy shots near the basket. And 8 of 9 is about right, my guy. He made his only free throw. 11 rebounds for Jonathan, 7 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 17 points. Fantastic all-around game by Mobo. He was energy personified. He's the number 1 star of the game in my book. He got the chain. And even Lloyd, after the game, was posting on his Instagram stories, now you got to go for a triple-double, Jonathan. The good friend of Scotty and Jonathan's, Lloyd, saying, yeah, you got to go for a triple-double now, J-Mo. That's just how it is. He got 7 assists, so he's only 3 away. In fact, Jonathan had some really good thread-the-needle passes last night. Really risky passes, but top-notch, top-level gift skills to be able to thread the needle and get those passes because most of them were successful. Some of them very risky, though, very close to defenders. And, well, but he made them work last night. So good job, Jonathan. Number one star of the game. Second star of the game to me was Orlando Robinson. I felt like Orlando Robinson did a really good job of being a big man out there and fighting and doing the stuff that he's been building on for the last couple months. 5 of 7 for Orlando from the field, 22 minutes, 1 of 2 at the free throw line. He got 6 offensive rebounds. That's the key stat for Orlando Robinson right there. The man was keeping the possession alive for the Raptors and giving them extra shots. And I love that. 6 offensive rebounds, 7 altogether, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, a +8 with 11 points. So, yeah, just a couple more rebounds. You got a double-double too, Orlando. Of course, he's gotten a few double-doubles this year also. My third star of the game is Cole Schwider. Cole has had stacked 2 great games together with him. Cole Schwider, 4 for 7 from the field, 4 of 6 overall. He got 8 rebounds, 1 steal, 3 turnovers, 12 points, a +9. So, yeah, Cole built off of the last one, and I'm very happy to see that he did get the second 10-day that happened, and he's going to be with us for the rest of the season. In some ways, I'd rather not bring new people in to the fold. In some ways, this is an example of, the Raptors. Let's talk about last year first. Last year, we were doing similar thing to what we're doing right now. We tried out a lot of different players and 10-day contracts, and we also got some guys in trades in the middle of the season. We were trying them out to see if they were for the future. Well, a lot of those guys were not for the future, and they were not on the team after the summer. And well, this year, I feel like we haven't had to try out as many 10 days, giving 2 10 days to Colin Castleton, now two 10 days to Cole Schwider. Is partly because the Raptors kind of already found the guys, and they don't really need to audition a lot of players. So in some ways, Cole's getting an extended audition because we're not desperate to get another guy in and search him and try him out. Because honestly, we're stacked. We got a very good, talented team with a lot of guys already in the fold. And we're not going to have as much roster turnover for next year in the offseason as some people may think. We already got Brandon. Brandon's kind of the big offensive move, just preemptive earlier in the middle of this season. So in some ways, we'll get a draft pick. We may make some minor free agency kind of stuff. But for the most part, our roster is what you see, is what you get for next year. And I'm all about that. And signing Cole Schwider to a second 10-day contract without going to explore somebody else is a symbol of this. That the Raptors kind of seen enough. Okay, we've seen enough. And, well, we understand what we've got and we're going forward with. In some ways, we have the idea of what it looks like. There you go. Yeah, Cole was pretty good. Like I said, he hit 4 for 6 from 3. I love seeing the threes go down. And as Garrett Temple, they had the footage of Garrett coaching him. He was mic'd up in the game before, and he's very encouraging. You see a window into the Raptors world when you see Garrett Temple talking to Cole Schwider and telling him, just keep shooting, man. Just be you. Just be loose and do it. And then, boom, you see Cole Schwider get some success. And then you see Garrett saying, that's right. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'd love to see that mentorship from the veteran from Temple. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That is awesome stuff. So good job, Cole, listening to your vet. My 4th star of the game is another sharpshooter, is Jamison Battle. He was 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, and 12 points, a +1. Jamison's been shooting very well recently, and he's doing all-around stuff like rebounding, and he's better on defense too. He's very much a very dogged defender. In some ways, he's not a weak defender at this point. He can hold his own, and he's figured out where he's supposed to be now, so he's not as confused on the court and being a defensive weak league. So kudos to you, Jamison Battle, not only for getting stronger body-wise, but we knew you'd be good shooting, but also for the defensive effort and the defensive aptitude that you're showing more and more as the season progressed this year. Yeah, very, very happy with Jamison Battle's development also as a rookie. Jamal Shed is my final star of the game. He didn't get double digits. He was just 1 point shy. As Darko said afterwards, he could have gotten it, but if he had just made one more shot. But Jamal's having a great weekend. Houston winning, him winning the bets with RJ and Brandon Ingram, and his coach believing in his team and saying, yeah, I know Houston's going to win. And he was right. 3 of 11 for Jamal Shed, 1 of 3 from 3, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 12 assists with 3 turnovers Also 3 steals, a plus 31 for Jamal Shed. So we outscored the Nets 31 points while he was out on the court last night. 9 points for Jamal. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Those are my 5 stars of the game. I could give an honorable mention out to maybe Jared Rhoden and AJ Lawson. Those two guys were pretty good off the bench also. AJ Lawson 5 for 9, 1 of 3 from 3, 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 1 rebound, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, 13 points. And then Jared Rhoden 5 for 7. He missed both his threes, but he was attacking the rim and laying it up and very active getting up and down the court. 1 assist, 2 steals also for Jared with 10 points in 17 minutes. Going over the last couple players, Jacoby Walter did not get double digits. He was 2 for 6, and they were all 3-point shots. 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers, and 8 points, plus 8 in 18 minutes. Yeah, Jacoby stat stuffing in a way, not really scoring as much, but being a defensive presence and getting stats like steals and blocks and rebounds and assists. So very helpful even when he wasn't shooting as much volume. And that's really good because in some ways you want value from a player like Jacoby that if he's on an off night, well, he's going to contribute in other ways in other departments. And that's getting deflections, stealing the ball, getting in there, mixing it up on rebounds, causing some assists. That's all gravy and good stuff for Jacoby, even when he's not scoring as well. RJ Barrett, 4 for 16. I don't know if that's a tribute to his to the city of Toronto, 416, but he shot 4 for 16. 0 for 4 from 3, 5 of 11 at the free throw line. So RJ's still struggling at the free throw line, missing 6 free throws, only making 5. Man, that is probably like, I don't know, if Darko's doing his exit interviews, he needs to sit down to you and say, RJ, can we do better with the free throws next year? Please, please. I'm all about that. 3 offensive rebounds for RJ, 6 rebounds altogether, 3 assists, 1 block, 13 points for RJ Barrett. It's just he was out there in some ways. It was like RJ and the young guys was what the game looked like to me last night because we didn't really have a whole lot of veteran presence out there other than RJ. It was really RJ's the oldest player that was out there, and he's not even 25. Isn't that crazy? Like, seriously, out of all the players we had play yesterday, all 10 of them, RJ Barrett was the oldest player, and he was 24, y'all. Seriously, all those other guys are pretty young. I don't know. Orlando may be a little bit older. I'm not totally sure. But the pretty much everybody's younger than RJ, and he is the young leader, and he's not even 25 years old. That's just what I got to say about how bright this future is coming up. I'm telling you, man. Ochai Agbaji, 6 of 14, 2 of 7 from 3, 1 of 1 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 15 points for Ochai. Solid game, plus 8. He was fine too. He was solid. It was just a good all-around game by all the Raptors. 8 guys in double digits. You can't be mad at that. Looking at the other side of the court, I'll give some shine to somebody here. Well, they were kind of similar. They had 8 guys in double digits too, but none of their guys scored over 15 points. It's really kind of crazy. Of course, Drew Timme was a little bit annoying there. At one point in the beginning of the game, he scored on Mobo, and he turned to his teammate and he said, "Yeah, I can beat him. I can beat him." Okay, buddy. You go ahead and keep thinking that. You go ahead and try and keep doing that. He didn't do that much after that, though. And in some ways, it's like he got a little confident at that moment. But yeah, you didn't have him, bro. Come on, man. Don't act like you could eat Jonathan Mobo's lunch at that moment. You could, but you got him once. You got him once. Come on now. Maxwell Lewis off the bench, 6 for 12 with 13 points. Yeah, none of them were really standing out. But let's be honest. That Nets team was not talented, very inexperienced, and small. So we had all kinds of advantages over them, and we should have blown them out. We won by 11, but in some ways, I was expecting us to beat them by over 20, honestly, because they just didn't have the talent to match up against our talent. And that's even with just RJ and the young guys. Seriously, because they just don't. They just didn't have that talent to really battle us yesterday. So, yeah, there's your look at the box score with the Raptors. Doing great. Star of the game, Jonathan Mobo. That's right. That's right. Bam, goes the dynamite. Boom, goes the dynamite. Fiercely saying, thank you for the quick tutorial on Discord, Raptor Freak channel. Lex, appreciate it. Yeah, we've been going through this with everybody to an extent. I helped Monique get in there yesterday, And yeah, we just, it's going to take a little bit of a learning curve. It's not totally, there's so many bells and whistles in there. There's so many opportunities to figure out creative things to do on there that, it's going to still take some more time to learn more little by little, but it's going to be more and more easier to use. And I'm really happy because I was worried about making the jump, leaving Facebook. It's a little daunting after you've been on a social media network for almost 20 years to like all of a sudden say, I'm cutting the cord with this shit because I don't want to support Zuckerberg. I don't want to support Meta. And I don't want them collecting my data. I don't want to do anything on there anymore. So in some ways, I want the substitute because I don't want to go without being able to socially contact people that I care about, like the RFF. So this is the avenue for us to keep the community together stronger and better going in the future is through Discord. Yeah, in some ways, I'm not going to tell everybody to get off Facebook. It's your own personal choice. But to be honest, I think that more people should get off Facebook right now because in some ways it's going downhill just like Twitter. And in some ways, I don't want to support oligarchs and jerks that are trying to control the U.S. government and the rest of the world by extension. So yeah, in some ways, this is another way I'm boycotting the United States is I'm boycotting Zuckerberg. And that means I'm getting rid of both Instagram and Facebook. Even though I enjoyed both those apps for a long, long, long time, well, my time with them are done. And by the end of this month, I will be off of those platforms and deleting all my data on them. So everybody has their own decisions on this. Some people may inextricably be connected to Facebook and they cannot cut the tie because there's a very vital communication links there that way. But me, I'm going to find a way around it because in some ways I don't like this. I don't like that Facebook has become such a focal point of my life over the last decade or so that in some ways that I don't want this person to have that much control, Mark Zuckerberg. So I'm out. I'm out. And you know what? It's partly because they fired the fact checkers and I can't trust the information that's on Facebook. And I also can't trust the person who's collecting the data and what he's going to use that data for. And the time is coming in the future. So those are my reasons for why I'm getting out of there. That's right. Trevor's saying that Mobo got the chain. That's right. He's off the chain also. He got the chain and he's off the chain. Of course, Mobo doing the post-game interview, he always sets everything up that everything is the glory of God and that it's his glory and everything I did was for him. And I love that about him. The spirituality of our team is very, very grounded in Christianity with Manuel Quickly and Grady Dick and Scotty Barnes and Jonathan Mobo and Jamal Shed and Jacoby Walter. These are men of faith. These are men that believe in Jesus Christ. And they profess that anything that they do is all because of him and because of God, the creator. And that they're just a vessel of the energy that is given to them by the Lord. And that's an amazing thing. Wayne's here. Good to see the sergeant, Wayne Strainer. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Our rookie class is solid. I have no angst towards any player, wishing them all a restful and productive summer. I like the general demeanor of Mobo, deserves his accolades. Yeah, I mean, I hate how some people come at Mobo saying the guy shouldn't be on the team. He's only here because of Scotty. We should have picked Filipowski instead of him. There's all kinds of stupid, negative, pessimistic Raptors takes when it comes to Jonathan Mobo. But honestly, he's earned his keep. He's pulled his weight. He's done the job that Darko's asked him, and it's not anything to do with the connection to Scott. This is a good player that deserves to be in the NBA because he can play in the NBA and he can produce. So I don't get it, man. I get it. Some people are like assholes and they just want to be little jerks. But in this case, I'm sorry. The jury is out. Jonathan Mobo deserves to be in the NBA on his own merit. And it has nothing to do with any kind of Bronny James shit. Just put it that way. How about that? Yeah, good to see Wayne always in the morning. Always good to see Wayne. Bryce is saying, I kind of like how we are going into the summer with rookies getting some feel, with BI ready to train and work the summer with the team. And whoever we pick in the draft, I sense danger next season. Yeah, I think seriously, like the Pistons this year, Pistons went from bottom of the league right on up into the playoffs. We're going to have that same kind of ascension. And some of these teams that are in the playoffs right now are going to have a fall. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be very, very interesting. There's a couple of spots in the Eastern Conference that are open for one of the teams in the bottom to jump up and get more acclaim and be more respected and have more success. because the Eastern Conference was weak once again this year. And well, it's just crying out for a team like the Raptors to come back and rule it next season. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right, Bryce. I love how we're setting up too. In some ways, it's like Brandon looks like he's going to be ready and healthy to participate as soon as the season's over. And now he'll be doing practice with everybody. And hopefully, yeah, he'll get integrated and we'll see him very much in tuned with the team, especially if they're going to have extended training camps throughout the summer in various exotic locales. We'll have to see. We'll of course on this channel we'll be paying attention to what the Raptors are doing all summer, day-to-day updates every morning, 9:30 every day. We don't take an off season on the Raptor Freak channel. The season may be ending soon for the Raptors, but it doesn't for me. And I've been in a perpetual season now for almost 4 years, and I ain't stopping yet. I did all the off season the last 3 off seasons. Why wouldn't I do it this one too? I'm gonna keep going. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying, "Hey Lex, sorry I didn't come in the Discord yesterday. I had some things to do with my fam. How'd it go? It went pretty good. I mean, it really is going to kind of be like a thing where it's like if people want to drop in, if I'm around, I'll talk to them. It really is kind of like a professor with office hours. You know, I may have certain set times of the week where I'll be in there no matter what. And if people want to just hang out and talk Raptors, I'm available. It's going to be a great interactivity kind of connection for members of this channel and diehard Raptor freaks that enjoy, you know, talking to me and having the chance to talk Raptors with me on off hours than this channel. So this channel is great because the comments, and we've got this established and we've been doing this a while, but you know, it may actually change a little bit where this show gets tightened up a little bit more because we're doing more interacting outside of this channel also. So yeah, no problem. There's no attendance, just like this channel. You guys have lives. I understand that. And I'm not caring, like, you know, it's one thing if you tell me you're going to be somewhere and we make a date and time to be there and then you don't show up. But it's another thing we don't have anything and it's just open ended. I have no problem with, you know, people as long as you don't make and I show up and then you're like, oh, you're not there. That could be annoying, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's all good. The Stargate saying, yes, priority number one for RJ in the offseason, work on free throws. Call up your godfather, Steve Nash, and have him coach you on free throws all summer long. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of silly that like that's such an easy kind of like easy. Honestly, it's an easy thing to fix if you just really put the work in it. So in some ways, RJ may have easy homework this summer. Just work on your free throws. I mean, of course, the other aspect that he's probably going to be asked to work on more even this summer is the defense too, and the focus on defensive energy and that kind of stuff. Of course, there's always little things he can do with his offense too, and he may also be very concentrating on becoming more of a playmaker next year and thinking about how he passes and things like that. There's a lot of tape of RJ being a playmaker this year and being the point guard. And well, he could take the bad stuff that he did and kind of look at it and try and avoid it. And, you know, look at the good stuff he did and try and do it more, you know? So I could see that. I could see that kind of stuff happening right there. Yeah. I can see that kind of stuff happening. Bryce is saying Discord is the best option for a community. I agree with this. From what I've seen just in 3 days, Bryce, it's been fantastic. In fact, I don't feel like I'm gonna miss Facebook that much, partly because Discord has been so exciting and fun to start building this right now. And I really appreciate everybody's made the jump with me. And you guys are gonna be so happy. So like later, Bryce, we're gonna watch wrestling tonight on the Discord together. And hopefully, you know, if you're interested in that, we can watch it together. You know, Reggie's told me he's going to start bringing me new wrestling and try and win me over. I'm liking it more. So that might be pretty interesting to see. Like Smooth Brown Man brings new wrestling clips to Raptor Streak and tries to show him that wrestling is actually still good right now. So that could be entertaining, y'all. As I don't watch new wrestling. And if Reggie's going to bring me some stuff from the new stuff, well, let's see me react to it. That'll be fun, man. The Stargate saying, nah, Mobo just needs more time in the 905. That's all. Take the Chris Boucher route. He'll be fine. Yeah, I agree with this. And I think that that's inevitable. I think sadly, well, not sadly, but just how it is, you know, you can play less 905 in your rookie year and play more at 905 in your second year sometimes just because of the development arc. Sometimes it has to do with the franchise's roster and how healthy they are in different times. You know, we weren't as healthy most of this year at times. So Jonathan got a lot of time on the big club, which is very valuable. But in some ways, I agree with this. I think like he needs to be down at 905 again this year. And in some ways, because if we're healthy coming back next year with Brandon, Grady, Jacoby, and everybody's available, that may be the best place for Jonathan to be, just to get lots of reps and minutes and continue to progress. Because in some ways, if he sticks around the Raptors next year, he may be sitting on the end of the bench getting DMPs more often than actually getting in the game. So that's an interesting. I agree with this. I agree with Stargate on this. Getting him some time, and if he can have a year like Boucher did, wow, that's a really good progress right there. Trevor saying Portland put the Spurs out, and Phoenix is barely holding on. Yeah, Portland Trailblazers eliminated, San Antonio Spurs eliminated, and the Suns are just barely hanging on. It looks like I'm going to lose this bet with you guys about the Mavs and the Suns and who's going to make it. A couple weeks ago, I was saying, oh, the Suns will be in the play-in, but y'all were adamant that the Dallas Mavericks would be the team that would actually still be in the play-in, and it's looking like y'all are going to be right, and the old Raptors streak is wrong. Yeah, I mean, that happens. I'm wrong a lot of times, and I'm not afraid to admit it. This is something that people in this world need to be better at, admitting when you're wrong and coming clean about it and not trying to hide it, not trying to make excuses for it. If you are wrong, you're wrong. And I'm wrong. I thought that Dallas was going to fall out of the playoffs, but Anthony Davis showed back up and he's trying to fight and keep them in. So that is interesting. Very, very interesting stuff. Holding on, Kevin Durant. I mean, it looks like, is this like this? Kevin Durant writing on the wall with Phoenix Suns. Why would he want, once again, just like Nick Nurse, his last year coaching us, why would he want to beat Chicago and go further in the playoffs? He's trying to get the fuck out of here. So it's like, why would Kevin Durant try and help the Suns get in the playoffs right now? He's trying to get out of there. That's kind of the action that's going on right now. There's an interesting article up on ESPN that I kind of want to talk about with you guys right now. They put out an article today about what the other 28 teams in the NBA could have offered Dallas for Luka Doncic. That, a lot of the criticism of that deal is that other teams were not allowed to talk to the Mavericks and put packages together to try and get Doncic's land on their team. Well, you want to see what they said the Raptors would trade to the Dallas Mavericks for Luka Doncic? Well, first of all, they said this: Scotty Barnes would be a trade candidate for Doncic, but the 2024 All-Star signed a rookie extension last July and is not eligible to be moved. So this deal does not have Scotty in it to trade to Dallas for Luka Doncic. He said the extension of Barnes leaves Toronto with a package of 3 first-round picks. Quickly, Dick, and Babaji are the best offer. That's what they want. They want us to, they would say the best deal that we should have sent to the Dallas Mavericks was Emmanuel Quickly with Grady Dick and Ochai Agbaji and 3 first-round picks for Luka Doncic. So I ask everybody, ESPN's deal is there. Let's do a poll. Would you do that deal? Would you have done that deal? Would you do the ESPN proposed Raptors deal for Luka? Now, think about this, guys, because honestly, this would mean that, and they were saying that they'd keep RJ and they'd have Brandon too. They'd still be able to do the Brandon deal with this. So they'd have RJ, Scotty, Luka, RJ, Scotty, Luka, and Brandon. That's pretty impressive. And obviously, I guess Luka becomes the point guard with Emmanuel gone. So let's see what y'all vote on this. It looks like it's pretty divisive. Like it's split right now. It's really split. It's 50% right now. Yeah. I think that deal sounds crazy to me because in some ways it's like, I get it. The 2 Jayhawks go to Dallas with Emmanuel. Like we can weather that though, because a lot of people are very high on Jacoby right now. And in some ways, when you make a trade and you trade 3 guys to get 1, that's consolidating talent into 1 roster spot. And then those other roster spots, there's more time for rookies. In some ways, I don't know. This deal seems really interesting to me. I don't know. In some ways, I don't like Luka, though. I'm not as big on Luka as some people. I don't buy into his old myth as much as the rest of the league. I feel like he's overhyped in some ways. And in some ways, also, he seems like he isn't a winning player. And that's part of the reason why Dallas traded him to the Lakers, right? So, yeah, I thought that was an interesting deal that they put up there. It looks like it's split right down the middle, 50-50 right now. Half of y'all think it's a good deal and you do it. And half of y'all are like, no, I wouldn't do it. Emmanuel? No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff right there. So yeah, just wanted to bring that up from ESPN website right there. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Stargate saying if Mobo can become an Amir Johnson type, I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, that's all he needs to be. He just needs to be a serviceable, like power forward that does the power forward stuff. It's not that we need this man to become a 20-point scorer. It's not that we need this man to become anything extra. In some ways, he could just get better at what he's doing now and cut out the mistakes more and make more shots. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Once again, in some ways, he really does play like his friend Scott. He's a glue guy. That we see it in the passing last night. He can block shots. He can hit threes. He can do it all. In some ways, just like Scotty can, but on a lower level and not on the same kind of superstar level as Scott. But they are very similar in that way that they can stat stuff, all stats, steals, blocks, threes, rebounds, assists. You know, that Jonathan is very much a similar kind of player to Scott. He really, really is. Let's see. Smooth saying that markets are continuing to sink. It's terrible. Well, in some ways, I look at it this way: the whole system of money is just some made up bullshit anyway. And some people that are so tied up into it, and I'm not saying this to insult anybody here, and they feel like the stocks and they feel everything about it and they're so sensitive to it. Well, good. Ride that roller coaster. You money person. In some ways, I'm rejecting the world of that in certain ways as much as I can. Sure, realistically, I have to use money to buy things so that I can stay alive. But in some ways, I'm really anti-consumer. I live a minimalist lifestyle. I only buy what I very much need. I don't buy impulse buys. I don't buy stuff that I want just because I want it. I have to really think about what I buy, and it's a need that I'm buying for and not for a want. There's so many different products out there that are unnecessary for people to buy that people just want a quick money grab on buying it. So I don't know. In some ways, I'm like, you know, in some ways, everything crashing down right now needs to happen because this needs to show that this person is really bad and we need to kick him the fuck out. So him causing everything to go crazy right now is actually a really good thing because it'll mean he'll be out quicker. So I'm not upset about this. Crash the hell out of the United States. Go ahead and see the people take the streets like they did and see you get the hell out of the White House sooner, is what I feel about it right there. Yeah, it's terrible, but it needs to be terrible right now. Charles Barkley. It's terrible. It's terrible. Carlos saying, morning, Lex and Philip Freaks. Good morning to you, Kaloy. Good morning, Santino. I hope that you guys are having a great morning on a Monday morning. That's right. Smith saying Hong Kong just experienced their worst drop since 1997. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Worst drop since Hong Kong Fooey. Yeah, Hong Kong Fooey, number one criminal superhero guy. Yeah, Hong Kong Fooey. Yeah, I don't know, man. In some ways, once again, these kind of things to me are on another planet because I just don't even care. If the financial world is going to burn down like Rome burned down, well, that's just what they get because they set up this situation with the rules of the game and the power players at the top, and they want to be irresponsible with greed and not allowing society to have the ability to be free and taking care of itself. Well, they're going to get what they get. Is what I say. They're going to get what they get, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. Fiercely saying, Lex, years ago, I was told if we actually delete pics from Facebook, it means we're relegating the rights to them. So I had all the albums and pics I posted. I was oversharing family and friends' content. Yeah. And this is not totally true. What we're going to do is like, all right, if you want to leave Facebook, there is an option to delete your whole entire account and everything, your information off of there. And that's what I'm going to do. You just got to go into like the deeper recesses of the behind the scenes stuff on your profile, and you can find an option to delete all of my information and stuff like that. And that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, some of this stuff is bullshit, Fiercey. There's a lot of dumb rumors about sharing your data and your pictures with Meta and Facebook, and half of that stuff isn't true. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm going to say that it probably wasn't a true thing that you thought, because there's a lot of misinformation about this and confusion, to be honest. Fiercely saying, I make the albums only visible to me and share very few pics now. Also, I approve people tagging me. Yeah, these are all probably good ways to be. Honestly, this is probably all good stuff. But yeah, in some ways, it's like I just don't trust it. They're starting to roll out AI stuff on Facebook now. You'll see it in your feed and they'll say, "Would you like to organize this with AI?" And it's like, in some ways, that's another cue for me to get the fuck out of there. Because honestly, I'm not about to be in the AI world. Call me an old fuddy duddy about to turn 50, and maybe the world will leave me behind. But you know what? I don't want to participate in the world of AI. I'm not interested. I don't need to be on computers looking. If I see AI images or I hear AI music, I'm rejecting it. I don't want to even look at it. And in some ways, if they're asking me to use more AI in my everyday life, I'm fucking rejecting it. In fact, I'm going in the opposite direction. Instead of AI, I'm gonna be using nature and gardening and getting back to nature and trees and other things like that instead of getting into a whole world of artificial, which is the first word of the an acronym AI. So I'm going to more real and getting away from the AI and the artificial, because in some ways online you're gonna have to be really smart about the things you're doing online, because there's gonna be so much bullshit. There's gonna be so much that's just not true, and there's so much that's gonna be made up. There's gonna be made up images. They're gonna look real. They're gonna fool people. There's gonna be voice clips already happening where they think that somebody's saying something like Obama, but it's absolutely a fake. I'm just saying we're gonna have to be really good with bullshit detecting. And with them, the right wing politicians not wanting to fund education, they want y'all to be stupider. Everybody, us, me too, so that they can lie to us with AI and all kinds of other things easier. And they can perform and make their own reality with AI. Think about that. They can make up bullshit that didn't even happen if they have the fakes enough, and they will actually get the masses to believe it. That's the crazy thing. Some people think that's what the moon landing is. That the moon landing never actually happened, but it was an experiment by the US government to make the masses believe that something actually happened. And that's part of that, what that was. I mean, I don't know if it happened or not. Why did we not go there again if we only went there once? And we have all of the technology to go there over and over again. Why is it this seems like we never went there again after that? I don't know. Either way, I'm not going to get in conspiracy theories too much, but I'm just saying, with AI coming up and more prevalence, we've got to be more critical thinking and more intelligent about things with artificial intelligence being around. I'm just saying. Let's see. Kaloy saying, yeah, my bro in law is about to buy a house and his down payment money is already down 10%. Crazy. Yeah. I mean, financials are tough. Financials are tough in a lot of ways, but this is a lot of manufactured situation. And this is on purpose. I'm telling you guys, this is why he's so casual about it. Everybody's like mad at him because he's out golfing and not doing something about it while everything's just going to shit. Well, this is what was done by design. In some ways, the people that have a lot of capital and are very rich, they aren't going to be affected by this as much as everybody else. And it's going to be really, really disastrous for people financially. So, in some ways, I tell people, why don't we rebel? In some ways, one of the ways we can rebel is not just by getting in the streets and protesting like they did this weekend. It's also to find alternative ways of barter system. And also, let's just reject the system of money. Let's start doing services trades. If you're involved in society and you don't have a lot of money, but you have a skill, maybe you go and do that skill for somebody else and they do a skill for you. And we just cut them the fuck out. We don't even participate with their monopoly money kind of bullshit. On small scales, this could be worked out. In some ways, this is how communities rurally and different places always did things, is service trade. And don't even like, yeah, you know what? I don't mind. I'll come over and fix your toilet as a plumber. You guys baked a couple of loaves of bread. I'll take the bread. We can do things to get around their bullshit system. We only have to play their game as much as you want to. You can stand up and say, I'm not fucking playing your Parker Brothers bullshit monopoly game anymore, Elon and Trump. And I'm going to go fucking make a community with other people. And we're going to share shit on our level in that way. The basis with money could be part of it still, but I'm just saying there's other ways of doing things in this world than the rules that fucking powers that be set up for us. There are other ways to do it. Yeah. Yeah. Let's keep going. Let's see. Fiercely saying, not sure if this is legit, but check before deleting your pics from meta profiles. I don't give a shit. That sounds like fear mongering to not do it. I'm doing it, Fiercey. You're not going to tell me to be afraid of this. I'm just fucking doing it. If they have my pictures, they already got my fucking pictures. And in some ways, I don't care. They're going to have my pictures. They aren't going to have anything else from me after this month. And well, I'll cut the cord. And, that may be seriously a false rumor that they're making up so that people are scared to leave Meta. So I'm more likely to believe that. Listen, if they wanted to, I'd probably go to court. I'm not going to though, because I'm not a litigious person. But I bet I could fight the rights for my stuff against Mark Zuckerberg. But who knows if I'd win or not? But I don't care. In some ways, I don't care about my data that much. I'm just not going to give them any more. How about that? I mean, I've given them data for 17 years. And in some ways, if I can delete that whole entire bank of data that they collected on me, that's great. But if I can't, so be it. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'll just move forward without them collecting any more from me from this point. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to do that, but I'm not going to be afraid of this. I don't care. I don't care. They got my pictures. So what? So what? They feed them into an AI machine. So I'm a part of an AI, amalgamation of a whole everybody. So what? In some ways, I can't do anything about it at this point. I've already put that stuff up there. And if they have some convoluted way of saying that, oh, no, this is our rights to your pictures now at this point, so what? I don't care. I'm not playing the game anymore. I don't show up to the board game table anymore and sit down and roll the dice with them. I don't play it anymore. That's what I do right there. Yes, Trevor's saying Supreme Court said to Trump administration they have till midnight today to bring back the person who they deported. This is good. I like that the Supreme Court is being tough with Trump, with this bullshit, with this guy who got sent to El Salvador that was a legal person to be in the United States, and they deported him, and he's in a jail down there. Yeah, they got to figure this out. In some ways, the guy who Reggie showed me yesterday, Tennessee Brando, was talking about this is like, in some ways, they may not have the incentive to get this guy out because it's egg on their face and they look bad. In some ways, they may want it to be a cautionary tale because they want to have horrors that people are scared of. So it's like, don't fuck with Trump because he might send you to a country for no reason. And you're stuck in a jail for all of a sudden that you can't get out of. It's dangerous. It's scary and it's wrong. And I'm glad the Supreme Court is doing their job and telling him he needs to fix this problem and mistake that he caused himself. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's good news, Trevor. I like that. Kaloy saying, what team are we rooting for in the playoffs? Oklahoma City. Yeah. Yeah, I would. I would. They're the number one team. They're the best team in the league. And I ain't rooting for the Celtics. Nah, damn for sure I ain't. No, I'm not. So, yes, Thunder, SGA, Lou Dort. Why not? Why not? I mean, there's Eastern teams I'll still root for too, like Siakam and the Pacers. I am on the down low rooting for the Pistons because I like that they're upstart and they've just come from the bottom of the league to get back in the playoffs. You know, those two teams in the East probably are my favorites. I mean, I'm a little bit rooting for OG, but I can't root for the Knicks. It's tough. It's really, really tough. A little bit rooting for the Bucks, a little bit, not so much. But on the Western side, I can root for a few teams over there that I like. You know, there's a couple of teams in the Western side that I actually really do like. Let me see who I'd probably root for. Thunder first, and Rockets. I do like Fred a lot, so I am rooting for the Rockets. I'll root a little bit for the Nuggets. I'll root a little bit for Kawhi and the Clippers. Not the Warriors and the Lakers. I won't root for them. Minnesota, a little bit. Not really. I hate Gobert. I really do. He's still there, right? He's in Minnesota. Yeah, I don't like Gobert, so I won't root for Minnesota. Memphis, I'll root for, even though they're in a mess. I'll definitely root for Sacramento and DeMar DeRozan and Jonas Valanciunas. Definitely will do that too. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 That is who to root for there. Boom goes the dynamite. It's all love. No, Pat Love. No. Pat Love has brought the love once again. No. He's voting no on this vote. He's like, no way. No way we trade Emmanuel Quickley, Grady Dick, and Ochai Agbaji to the Dallas Mavericks for Luka Doncic. No. And no's winning, 67%. Blackhawks saying, hands down, you do the deal. You do the deal. You say you do it, Neil? You say, hands down. If you get that chance to get Luka Doncic, you do the deal. That's what Neil's saying. Okay. Fiercely saying, no, thank you. Luka don't play defense. Wow, it's very back and forth. But the no's are winning right now, 67%. No, you don't do that ESPN deal. Luka Doncic for Emmanuel Quickley, Grady Dick, Ochai Agbaji, and 3 first-round picks. That's a lot. That's a lot right there. That's a lot. Smooth saying, what trade for Luka? Well, ESPN made up trades for all 28 of the other teams, other than the Lakers and the Mavs. What could the other teams have traded to get Luka? if they had been given the opportunity. And the list for us was Emmanuel Quickly, Grady Dick, Oshai Abaji, and 3 first-round picks for Luka Doncic. Then we'd still have everybody else that we have right now. So that would mean we'd have Scotty, Luka, RJ, and Brandon Ingram all on the same team. So yeah, and Jakob too. Jakob would still be here too. Yeah, Luka still draws gravity. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. How, with that knowing that trade, what do you think, Reggie? How would you vote on that? Yes or no? Would you take that trade? Fiercely saying getting rid of IQ and Shed, 2 solid point guards who both do defense well. Jamal more than IQ, but IQ getting there. No, it doesn't say get rid of Jamal Shed. He's not in that deal. We'd still have Jamal Shed. The deal is Emmanuel Quickly, Grady Dick, Oshai Abaji, and 3 first-round picks. Not the picks we had last year, just the picks that are coming up in the future. Yeah. Stargate saying, yes, Luka does carry the ball constantly, plays little to no defense, and chronically complains to refs. However, his overall basketball talent is undeniable. I would do that deal. The pairing of Scotty with Luka would be very intriguing. I would say that. Yeah, and it would kind of make our team bigger in some ways because Luka would play point guard, but in some ways he wouldn't totally be the straight point guard. It would be like Scotty and RJ and Brandon are still doing point guard stuff. I don't know. How would Luka fit with Darko? Do you think Darko would love having Luka Doncic on his team? Probably. I think that he'd probably be able to work with him. Now, would Darko maybe be able to get Luka to work harder and maybe be less lazy? Probably. He probably could get more out of him, especially shamed him. And he said, look, Brandon, RJ, Scotty, they're all working like that. Why don't you do that? Huh? I can see this. It may work, actually. I think this is a weird deal. In some ways, I love IQ. And just like Fred said on How Hungry Are You, I wouldn't trade Scotty Barnes for Kevin Durant. Well, I wouldn't trade Emmanuel Quickly for Luka Doncic. If I'm that guy, I'm not doing it. I think there's too many question marks about it. I get it. The talent is undeniable. But in some ways, I also worry that certain star players in this league get in the way of getting Larry O'Brien's. And that's the one thing I don't want to have a guy on our team like that. I feel like Kevin Durant's like that. I feel like Joel Embiid is like that. And I'm not totally sure if Luka Doncic is like that, but it seems like he is. Has he won a championship yet? No, he hasn't. He had a chance to last year, but he failed very badly against the Celtics last year. It did not look good. Yeah, Smooth saying the Pacers won yesterday. Denver looking very beatable. Yeah, they just don't have the depth and the talent overall that they did when they won the championship. It's declined since then. In some ways, they've been getting dismantled like the champion Raptors did in the years after. All the good pieces that they had that made them a champion have been stripped off the car and gone to other places. And that's sad. In some ways, that's the way the NBA is. You have success. Well, some of your successful people will get vultured away because other team wants their success on their teams. Yeah, and that's a big part of it right there. Big part of it. Pat Love is saying, wow, 3 first-round picks plus Kansas City connection with Quickly. That will put the Raptors back 3 to 4 years. Let Ingram join the barbecue party. There's a cookout. There you go. I like that, Pat Love. I love it, Pat Love. That's right. All right, I'm going to give Pat Love a dunk real quick. I'm wondering, Pat Love is on the dunk sheet. Let me see. Is he on here? I don't remember him being on here. So maybe he isn't. I'm going to add you in. First time. Pat Love, you're getting your first ever dunk on the Raptor Freak channel. You come back more, you get more. You got 3 points on the dunk charts. Getting a dunk. Our dunks are 3-pointers. That's right. Our dunks are 3-pointers. Yeah, I like what you're saying here. It's like, yeah, that's a lot. I think that's a pretty steep price. I mean, Grady, what is he going to become? Oshai has had a huge jump this year. Those are 3 first-round picks. That's a lot right there by itself. It's almost like, could we do some negotiation? How about we trade you Emmanuel and Oshai and the 3 first-round picks, but we keep Grady? How about that? I mean, can we do a little bit more negotiating on this one right here? I mean, Nameless is here. Good to see our Midnight Plumber. This is a fantastic development for the future we're experiencing. Incalculable for our youngsters. I love that. It's so highfalutin, the language here. It's incalculable. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'm with you on this. Wayne saying, Raptor Freaks, please hit the like button. What's up with not liking the product? It's nice that you guys do it. But once again, I'm not the normal YouTuber pandering for subscriptions and likes and all that stuff. It is helpful. It does help my algorithm. But I'm kind of like that speakeasy on the edge of the city. just right on the maybe in the poor side of town. And I'm kind of like a little door that you knock on and say, "Hey, you know the code word?" And then you can come in. That's what the Raptor Freak stream is. It's like a hidden secret. It's like, "Oh, yeah, you know. But if you don't know, well, you don't." And that's why in some ways y'all are cool because you're in a cool secret club in some ways that not everybody knows about. Now spread the word. If you have friends that are big Raptors fans, you think they would enjoy the Raptor Freak channel, yeah, bring them in. But in some ways, this is a specialized taste for some people, and this is not a mainstream taste. This is not a taste for any old Raptors fan, even. Some people will not like my channel. So, in some ways, I'm not trying to go mass appeal. I'm trying to go specific. And I love the group that has flocked and come and hung out with me now. It's like, it's awesome. You guys are cool. And like, in some ways, we've had a lot of different people around. Some of them are here still, some of them are not. And I just really feel like, we've got a really good personality to the RFF right now. And, I don't care about quantity. I care about quality. And you guys are awesome. Wayne, if you want to share my channel with people that you know will enjoy the Raptor Freak channel, please do. Please, please do. Likes do help. And I do appreciate Wayne and telling you guys to like. I seriously do. Stargate saying at Fiercey, Shed wasn't in that deal. It was IQ, Grady, and Oshai, and 3 first-round picks for Luka. Yeah, that was a weird deal. I don't know, man. I don't know. I like Emmanuel. I don't want to do this to him. I really don't. Kaloy saying, yeah, please like that stream so it brings the live to the top of the algorithm. You guys want to do that? That's great. I mean, once again, I'm not even promoting this anymore. I used to take the stream every day, and I would post it in major Toronto Raptors Facebook groups. And I got a lot more traffic that way just from posting it in there and doing that all the time. And if you guys want to do that with me in other places where there's Raptors fans, I'm totally down with it. It's just I haven't been putting any energy in promoting myself at this point. I'm just doing the stream like I do every day. And the new people that come, they're finding me through search on their own. And it's not really me putting it out there anymore. I could put the link up for it in all kinds of social media places and really put myself on blast more, but I'm just not putting the energy into that. And my growth isn't as strong as it was because of that. It's also not the growth isn't as strong right now, partly because the Raptors have not been a good team this year. When the Raptors are a playoff team and they're winning a lot, I have better growth. People start coming and they want to know what's going on with them. But in a down year where we've struggled to get wins, I expect to kind of not have a real strong growth right now. And either way, as long as I'm growing and not going the opposite direction, like shrinking, I'm in a good shape. And I have consistently grown, even if it's just by a little bit all the time. All the time, at least. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Nameless is saying these rookies are going to be totally different animals at the beginning of this next season. You cannot predict the placement for next season if 3 or 4 rookies take tremendous strides forward over a season. The only logical conclusion is we will finish much higher in the standings. Yes, yes, and yes. The thing is that it's not facetious or untrue to say that we can expect our players to continue to develop because we have a coach that has a proven track record, not only just with our team, but also in other places of developing high-level talent in the NBA to new levels like Devin Booker, Desmond Bain. It's the kind of thing where we have the formula, we have the right people in the spots that we're going to be successful no matter what. And Darko has proven in the 2 years he's been here that he is getting better and better players built from where they come from in. In some ways they got to pinch themselves. Jamal, Jacoby, y'all can look at y'allselves last summer league and think about where you are now with your knowledge and how good you've got. And because they're a group and they can see each other apart from themselves, they can actually see the growth on each other from looking the other guy. It's like Jacoby can look at Jamal and say, man, I remember last summer when we showed up for Summer League in Vegas and we were making these mistakes. And look at us now. We're like closing out games against the Brooklyn Nets and we're winning and we're holding ourselves a high esteem as far as like we're confident, we know what we're doing. And that was not who we were last year in the summer when we were at Summer League. In some ways, you don't see it in yourself because you're in the middle of it day to day. But Jacoby can turn and look at Jamal and say, man, you've grown so much this year. I can see it because I remember what you were like last summer. And now at this point of the season, dude, you're off the charts with this and this. I look at Jameson. Wow, Jameson, man, you got so bulked up. Your shoulders are bigger and you're rebounding so much better at this point. They can see the progress across from each other. They may not feel it or see it in themselves. They may feel it, but for the most part, when you're with a collective, you're coming up and you see the people in your collective getting better around you. Yeah, it's pretty cool and it feels real good. Feels real, real good. Fiercely saying, thanks, Stargate, for clarifying. I still don't want Luca. Yeah, I don't like that deal either. And I don't want Luca on our team either. I would never thought that I would say Luka Doncic is on my no Raptors to the Raptors list, but I think he is on the down low. In some ways, what Dallas did to him, sewering his name, and why they traded him away like that, that actually did hurt his stock in the eyes of the world. Because they're like, man, well, Dallas is so easy to discard him because they feel like he can't win them a championship because they think he's lazy, because they're questioning his work ethic and who he is. Well, that sounds bad considering that like he's supposed to be one of the best players in the league. And now all of a sudden this team is like that. That actually hurts his reputation. And that changes somebody like me from like, yeah, I'd love to welcome him on the Raptors to like, you know what, this is suspicious. And maybe we don't want him on the Raptors. Because if you'd asked me before the Luka trade, I would have been like, wow, yeah, I'd love to have Luka Doncic on the Raptors. But now I think in some ways, the things that the Mavericks said about why they traded him, I'm kind of in my head now for that. Kind of in my head right now. Yeah. Fiercely saying Grady is awesome, and so is Oshai. Yes, Luka is also young, but I don't think he can lead a team to a significant win. Our players are developing and becoming key pieces to a championship, in my opinion. Well, to really kind of understand how he would fit with Scotty, you can kind of look at how he works with LeBron, and that way is kind of comparable. I don't know. Scotty would probably love to play with Luka. No lie. He probably would. He'd probably be like, this is cool. But in some ways, I don't know if Luka would be good for Scotty. Let's think about that. In some ways, if Luka's around and he's kind of a lazy guy, how would he affect the team? And would there be some sort of conflict at some point? Because Scotty's mentality and the way he carries himself is very opposite. He wants these guys to work hard. He wants his team to be all out. And if Luka's not falling in line with that, and Scotty's already the established leader of the Raptors as the franchise player, there could be a conflict. There could be a conflict at some point there. I'm telling you, in some ways, the philosophies and the mentalities of your main players need to line up. And if you've got a guy who's kind of lackadaisical and kind of not pulling his weight, literally, well, he may lose some respect, and then there could be some division. Let's just put it that way. There could be some division. Trevor saying the Pistons have a great chance to get to the 3rd seed. That's amazing. So they see, this is what I'm saying. The Eastern Conference is not totally like Cleveland's way ahead of everybody, sure. And Boston's going to probably be second for sure. But after that, 3 through 6 is really in play. And that's what Trevor's talking about, that they could rise up to 3 over 3 teams. But also the play-in is very much in flux also, where they could be bouncing around from 7 to 10. And that matters because if you honestly want to be either 7 or 8, not 9 or 10, because then you get 2 chances to make the playoffs instead of just 1. So yeah, there is a playoff race in both conferences still. The Western Conference is very jammed up also, from 3 all the way down to 8. And that's the difference between a straight playoff spot and, look at what happened to Memphis Grizzlies since they fired Taylor Jenkins. They fell from 4th in the Western Conference into the play-in. And it looks like they're going to continue to fall. And they may be a play-in team that plays in out right away. They get in the play-in, they lose their play-in, and they're out they don't even make the playoffs. And that's crazy. In some ways, I feel like the Grizzlies have shot themselves in the foot. Maybe not the right words, considering they're a star player. And they are falling out of the playoffs now. And that's crazy. All because they fired Taylor Jenkins early. It's crazy, man. It's really, really dumb. Stargate saying, looking at the unrestricted free agent power forwards this year, it seems like trying to keep Chris Boucher may be the best option. We need a backup power forward. Other notables are Jeff Green, Larry Nance Jr., and Marvin Bagley III. Well, out of that list, and if they're money comparable, I'd like to just keep Chris because of culture and fit and knowing that he has already been around forever. So, yeah, I would be all about that. I don't know if this is a need we need, though. You're saying that we need a backup power forward? I don't know if we do. I don't know if we do, especially if we draft Malawach. If we have him and Shamshay's back healthy, Mobo's emerging. We do have some depth at that position, a little bit more than you think. And if Robinson's back next year, like maybe the question is this: do you want to keep Robinson or Boucher? And what do you think is more like the trade off on both of those? Think about that, because that may be the decision is do we want a true center or do we want Chris Boucher back next year? That could be the decision. I know that Orlando's money isn't anywhere near Chris Boucher's, but it's the roster spot on the roster that matters because there may not be very many opening roster spots. And both these guys aren't under contract for next year. So, Raptors fans, either you go sentimental and the longtime champion Raptor, or you go with what's practical in some ways and makes more sense because he can guard the paint with paint protection and physicality, Orlando Robinson. And it's not about the money. Orlando's cheaper for sure. It's about the roster spots and how many we have open. And do you fill it with Chris or do you fill it with a true center like Orlando Robinson? So that may be one of the questions this summer. Actually, that's more important. Trevor's saying, I will never trade none of our young core for Luka. No way, Jose. There you go. I'm with Trevor too. Rockets clinched the second seed in the playoff. Yeah, good job by them. Blackhawks say Mark Cuban said he would not have done the Luka trade, which means it only helped the Lakers. Yeah, he was mad. In some ways, he was very coy about it. He didn't want to opine on it right away because he didn't want to undermine the new ownership of the Mavericks. But he kind of let all the clues be known that he wasn't happy with the deal at all and that he wouldn't have done it. And yeah, in some ways, he's probably feeling a bit like the Mavericks fans more than the ownership, that he's pissed. That in some ways, it's like he built something and he was supposed to be in charge of still making basketball operations decisions, but obviously he isn't because this was allowed to happen. I don't think Mark Cuban would allow this to happen if he had any power in the Dallas Mavericks at this point. And that's sad. In some ways, he's just as pissed as the people who are protesting the Mavericks outside their arena. Seriously. He also said this. It's like, if I really talked about this openly, what's the point? It's already been done and I can't change it. And I may just cause more trouble talking about this completely openly about my opinion. Seriously. So, yeah, it's tough. It's a tough situation. And, man, Dallas is still reeling for it. All right, let me give you the straight goods on Canadian goods. This is a segment I do on the show to help our country, Canada, and other people around the world to support Canadian economy by buying Canadian goods. And today we're doing another franchise here in Canada that's Canadian owned that people can go eat at. And it's specifically a breakfast place. And it's called Cora. Cora. Yeah, you guys know the Cora breakfast place. Maybe you guys go to it already. Well, it was started by a woman named Cora who lived in Quebec. And she's still around. She's still alive, and she's still the chef. Her son runs the corporation now at this point, but it's a Canadian-owned breakfast chain. She started in the 80s, and it just blew up. People loved it, and now it's cross-country here in Canada at Cora Breakfast. And y'all, seriously, you can feel good eating at Cora knowing that this is a Canadian company that's for Canadians, by Canadians, employing Canadians in Canada. So have no fear of eating breakfast at Cora. A fantastic place to get your stuff. All right, whoever's pinging me on there right now, we're gonna turn that off. The Discord was open, and I didn't know that the noise would show up on the stream. Yeah, so there you go, Cora, guys, and she is a real lady, and they have philosophies here. They really wanted to do something to improve the quality of Canadian children, so they do a lot of charity to help children's issues here in the country of Canada. Nonprofit organizations improving the quality of life for Canadian children. If that doesn't sound like a good cause, well, what are you doing? So congratulations, Cora. And you're a great, fantastic breakfast chain here in Canada. If you guys have a Cora near you and you're hungry for breakfast, check out Cora's. Seriously. Been in business since the 80s and just expanded and grown and employs tons of Canadians and feeds tons of Canadians also. So that's my straight goods on Canadian goods. Cora Breakfast, Canadian franchise, Canadian owned by a great woman from Canada who lives in Quebec. So there you go. Boom goes the dynamite. Yeah, you love eating at Cora's, Carlo? Yeah, it's a great chain. It really is. And there probably is one in your vicinity. You just got to do a little location finder and you'll find it. Yeah. Kaz's saying Cora is good, although it's not as good as it once was, in my opinion. That's always the case, isn't it? It's like everything gets worse over time. Like Harvey's. That's another one that I'm like, man, Harvey's went downhill at some point. Even Swiss Chalet went downhill at a certain point too. But yeah, it's sad that that happens. Sometimes it's cost cutting with supplies and like quality of what you have to buy for your ingredients is the problem. But yeah, still, either way, you can get a decent breakfast at Cora, and it's you can be feeling proud that you're supporting the country of Canada by doing that. That's right. Trevor wants a classic card. All right, Trevor, you get what you get. Trucker Kaz, good morning to you, sir. I want to congratulate, actually, guys. We had our semifinal week in our Raptor Freak fantasy league, and Trucker Kaz has gotten to the finals. This is fantastic. He's a rookie in our fantasy league. And Kaz, this is a huge accomplishment. Great job beating Meredith in the semifinals, the WNBA fantasy champion. And you will face our current champion for the NBA fantasy basketball. He is back in the finals to defend his title, Peter Saborin. Peter successful at beating David in the last round, and it will be Peter in this last round to defend his title against Kaz. So that is your finals for the Raptor Freak Fantasy Basketball League. It will be Trucker Kaz versus David Saborin. Can David defend his title and be a two-time champion 2 years in a row? Or will Kaz win his first ever Raptor Freak Fantasy Championship? And the other matchups, I lost to Jason Dukes, and he will be playing Gerald, who won his semifinal match in the fifth place game. So it's going to be Team Canada versus Duke Rocks in the fifth place game. So, Gerald, you're playing for fifth place. You're actually going to place higher than me because you won your consolation bracket. So keep going, Gerald. And I guess I'm playing Shamshays in this last week of our fantasy league. So, yeah, good luck to Cass and good luck to Peter in defending his title. And may the best team win on that one. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. I like that. I like that a lot. Really, really good. Cass is saying Cora's still good, though. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I hate that it's true. A lot of things do go downhill over time. In some ways, you know what it also is, Cass? We have a nostalgia view of positive of a lot of different things from our childhood. And if you actually went back and revisited some of the things from your childhood, they probably, even if they're exactly the same, they would probably disappoint you because, like, there is a certain level of mystery and wonderment as a child doing things. And then when you go back and try it when you're later, and it's like, this isn't exactly what I remembered. This is kind of shitty. It's like, that happens to people sometimes is they have glowing memories. But it's true. A lot of places have been downgraded in their quality, and they're not as good as certain ways. But some of that's economic pressure to still stay a business and have to make tough decisions on quality control and quality cuts. It's unfortunate. Stargate saying power forward at Lex. Power forward, not center. We have no real power forward off the bench other than Mobo, who I believe isn't quite ready yet. If we want to win next season, we need a contributing power forward. I say keep Chris. Okay. So I mean, if you had to choose between Orlando and Chris, there's only one roster spot, you'd choose Chris. Okay. I mean, I would argue, I get what you're saying, but I don't believe that we don't have any backup power forwards because Jonathan's a backup power forward and he would be that guy because he wouldn't be anywhere near the starters. In some ways, we could also say that Brandon and Scotty are power forwards on our team and they're both starting. So, and then there's Shamshay. You got to remember the path for Shamshay to have a place on this team is maybe a little bit blocked by Chris if he's around. I love Chris Boucher. I want him on this team, but I don't think he's going to be on this team. I'm just reading the tea leaves of what's happening right now. And in some ways, I'm ready to let go just in case it's about to happen. But if he stays on, I'll be overjoyed. And I will love to have Chris Boucher on this team next year. But I'm reading the writing is on the wall. And that it seems like that this is not probably what's going to happen. So I'm getting ready emotionally. Let's just put it that way. Fiercely saying congrats to Kaz. Yeah, it's a big accomplishment. Kaz is I don't know how much fantasy he's played in the past, but he did a fantastic job in a Raptor Freak league. He really, really did. And Kaz is saying it's going to be a good battle, Lex. Good luck to David. Yeah. You're playing Peter. You're not playing David, not the commissioner, former commissioner of trivia for this channel. No, you're playing his brother, Peter, the less vocal brother, and the one that won last year. So you're playing against the defending champion who won last year. He got the ring. He literally got a championship ring last year for winning. And yeah, he got the ring last year. So you're playing Peter. Yeah. Stargate saying, not too worried about the center position. I think Robinson is serviceable for now. He needs to work on his strength, though. Seems a little weak for someone that size. Yeah, I agree with this. I mean, it could very well be maybe this summer Orlando Robinson gets on a weight training program and he gets a little bit even more stronger on his upper body. That wouldn't hurt. That honestly wouldn't hurt with him in his position. I'm just saying, Stargate, if we have to choose because there's only one roster spot open, would you rather have Orlando Robinson next year or Chris Boucher? That's all I'm saying. In some ways, I'd say yes. Chris is a more polished veteran player that we can depend on in certain ways. And he is a very good offensive rebounder, and he is a three-point threat. But once again, the allure to me of Orlando Robinson is he's cheaper, and also he actually is a paint protection presence. He can actually kind of hold territory underneath the basket with physicality against the biggest players in the NBA. And that is why I find value in him. Chris can't do that totally. He can do it to an extent. He's gotten better with his strength and holding ground around the basket, but it's difficult. And I'm just saying like that. I'm just saying if there's one spot, which one of them would it be? Kaz is saying maybe RJ needs to take a page from Jeremy Sohan and do the one-handed free throw. Yeah, maybe. I mean, if I'm analyzing RJ's free throws, which I have done a few times this season, I'll say it once again. RJ is not using his legs at the free throw line. He's pushing with just his arms. He needs to bring the energy from the bottom of his feet up through his legs with the legs coming out and straightening out and up through his arms, and then he'll shoot it through because quite often he's short. He's short on his free throws, and he's not getting the push correctly, and that push would come from his knees if he'd use his legs on his free throws. The other problem with RJ's shot is he's not, and this is the other reason why he misses so many, is he's not shooting straight. He's shooting with action off his offhand that's spinning the ball off in directions off to the side. And that is a big no-no too. RJ needs to get that guide hand out of the way. So this, your suggestion here about Jeremy Sohan, one-handed shots is good for this. Because if you don't put the guide hand up next to it, you just shoot with one hand, you don't have that spinning it all weird off the other side because that's what's happening. RJ's spinning that ball off his offhand, his off shooting hand, and that's making the ball go off this way. So he's not getting the strength of the shot from his legs, and then his guide hand is fucking up his shot going straight into the basket. So those are the two things he's got to concentrate better too. He's getting up there and he's not dialing in and thinking about making the shots. He's kind of all over the place thinking about other things also, I can tell. So those are a couple of things that I know just from watching and coaching people on how to shoot better free throws, what I would tell him to do. Those things right there. Smith saying there's a core at Young and Bloor, right? Probably. I know that there was one that was used to be just south of Second City on Blue Jays Way, between like Queen Street and the Sky Dome. There's a Cora right around there. They're all over the place, honestly. They're all over the place. I think that they said that they have like 140 locations across Canada at this point. So, and they are in BC. So they stretch right across this country. So you can go to them. Yeah. Neil's saying Shamshay is locked in on a two-way, so it's not an issue. I agree. Rob over Boucher. Boucher cannot play center a quarter of the season. He just doesn't have that weight. The other thing is, the reason why Darko's not playing him is, like I said, he doesn't have the passing kind of feel to him. The reason why we've kind of weeded out some of the guys on our team from the last year since Darko got coach, like Siakam, Gary Trent, and eventually Chris, is that these guys hold the ball too long when they get the ball in the passing system. That they're not doing the 0.5 fast enough. In some ways, they might dribble it. They may take a split second to look too long, but they need to be quick and moving that ball quickly around. Now, I know Chris can do it, and he's done it to an extent, but it's not his natural proclivity. In some ways, he wants to hold it, maybe dribble it, or shoot it himself. And in some ways, that's part of it. Is like the system that Darko has, you need to play it, and you need to be like naturally adept at it, or it needs to feel like it goes into your natural strengths. And in some ways, that's part of the problem with Chris. Is quite often, if Chris gets the ball, he's going to shoot it. He's not going to try and pass it to somebody else. And in some ways, that's not necessarily like what Darko wants for his offensive system. And I think that that is one of the biggest problems right there is the passing system of Darko's offense. Chris is not the best at playing it. And if you are able to be in the middle of it and pass around and get all over the place like that, that's good. But I think that that's what they've determined in 2 years of him being on the team with Darko coaching. Darko's really tried to integrate him and do stuff like that, and I think that to a certain level, they've been successful. And I think that Chris could probably fit in and make it happen, but it could be that they're just like, I don't know. This isn't the right player build. He's not the right kind of guy for our offense. In some ways, we don't know the internal discussions around Chris Boucher that Bobby, Masai, and Darko have. And that would be very illuminating if we knew exactly why it's like the way it is. Neil's saying centers anchor teams. They do not have to be elite like Joker or Embiid. Yeah, I totally agree with this. And that's why I feel like he's valuable. Also, once again, we're talking about money. And Chris is making overtures that he wants to get paid more this year coming up in the summer. And rightfully he should, maybe. But in some ways, it could really hurt our salary cap trying to pay Chris anywhere from 12 to 15 million a year and for what his role would be on our team. In some ways, he's a puzzle piece that doesn't necessarily fit to this jigsaw puzzle set that the Raptors and Darko have now. So I feel like that's a big part of it right there. And it's nothing against Chris. We love Chris. He's an amazing guy, and we'll always think of him as a Raptors legend. It's just that in some ways times change, and there's a shift in the feeling in the time of the realm of the team. And well, we're in a new era and a new time now. And Chris is like the last guy hanging around from the old era. And I don't mind that. I love having him here, but that he has to be like a Udonis Haslem. But do you pay a Udonis Haslem almost 15 million a year? No. You pay him a veteran minimum. And does Chris want to take a veteran minimum or does he want 15 million a year? That may be the biggest question about Chris Boucher this summer in free agency. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Cass saying, do you think maybe because he's been trying so hard on defense that it's making him tired for free throws? I think that part of it is fatigue. I think that in some ways, RJ has issues just calming down and clearing his mind at the free throw line. He seems like he's a little bit rushed at the free throw line. Maybe he could be a little bit like his good friend Emmanuel Quickly and take a very long time to prep for his free throw so that he's absolutely centered and calm and relaxed when he shoots the shot. Maybe he is rushing his free throws and shooting a little bit too soon as far as things. They may have to put a timer on these guys like a pitcher in the MLB about how they deliver their free throws. They wait up there for a little while and they're like, Emmanuel wipes his face, spins the ball, sits there, thinks for a sec, breathes, takes the shot. It's a very, very slow process. And maybe the Emmanuel's counting the time that he has at the free throw line. I don't know. They don't call free throw violations for taking too long on the free throw, do they? Because that's the thing in the MLB to speed up baseball. The pitchers have a count now that they can't take too much time scratching their nuts and picking their butt at the pitcher's mound. They have to deliver that ball pretty steadily on time because they're keeping track of him and they're trying to shorten the games. The MLB games are getting shortened because pitchers got to be faster. Well, they got to look at that with free throws too sometimes. But these guys are good. They don't get that violation. That violation. Stargate saying, what I'm saying is we may have to part with one of the wings to open up a spot. I know we love all these guys and have emotional attachments to them, but the team has needs. Sacrifices may be needed. Okay, so you really are big on saying that we do need more depth at 4. And that in some ways, maybe we give up a 2 or a 3 to get another big size guy. I still think, once again, let's see what we draft, Stargate. If we draft Malawach or any kind of power forward, this spot may be filled there. That's what I'm saying. Because if we bring in Malawach and we've got Shamshay, in some ways, both of those guys can be next to possibly with Jakob as like a 4 in some of the formations that we do. In fact, we saw a double center lineup that Darko was doing with Colin Castleton when he was on our 10-day. And that may have been a blip to the future. That forget about having a 4. Let's play 2 5s and have a depth that the 5s get out there. Does that make sense? That makes sense. You want to keep both Rob and Chris? I would love that too. I'm okay with that. If Bobby can finagle that and make that work, I'm just really worried that Chris's price is not worth what he would contribute and what we'd ask of him in the next year. And that's the problem. We can't pay a guy 15 million a year if he's going to be mostly just a bench deep rotation player. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Let's see. Blackhawks saying Chris needs that diaper money. Yeah, well, he's got diaper money. That man has done very well. That's right. Blackhawks saying I'd take Garrett over Boucher for that 15th spot. See, he likes the leadership of Temple being around next year even more so. Now, Chris has been more of a leader on the down low. We don't know it, but he is. And behind the scenes, he is very much like Garrett, but not at the same level, obviously. But yeah, there were overtures in the game recently talking about Garrett retiring and doing whatever he's going to do afterwards. The announce crew saying, yeah, if Garrett goes somewhere, he's going to be doing whatever he wants because he's a very talented guy. And they're exactly right. They're exactly right. That man could be a lawyer. That man could be in a player or union representation. That man could be a commentator, announcer on the broadcast crew. That man could go into coaching. There's all kinds of different routes for Garrett Temple after his post playing career. So yeah, he's gonna be. It'll be interesting to see. All right, is this squirrel gonna try and go down the rope? I don't. He doesn't know that the feeder's not there. I've been at war with the squirrels the last 2 days because they've been getting on my bird feeders and destroying them, and I've been really mad about it. So this guy's trying to do something. He doesn't know that I took the bird feeder down. It's not out there. Oh, it's okay. All right. Kaz is saying Giannis is the king of taking his time at the free throw line. Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be a point where you do that and you end up like getting in trouble. He went down the line anyway. Ow, doesn't that hurt? Doesn't that hurt, you jerk? Man, what a jerk. That squirrel. I'll deal with them this afternoon. Yeah, Giannis does take his time too. I've seen that. Yeah, the fans call free throw violations when it's Giannis. Yeah, I guess there is a time period they got to count. Yeah, that's funny. Kaz saying Boucher cannot come back to this team if he wants a raise. In my opinion, he has to take a pay cut or go. I agree with this. I think Kaz is exactly right because in some ways they want to pay him for what they're going to utilize him for. So in some ways he may need to go somewhere else to get paid big. He could be on Charlotte and he could be their starting power forward all of a sudden. Something like that. They'll pay him 15 million and boom, all of a sudden he's a starter and he's starting for the Charlotte Hornets, something like that. I could see that happening. Smooth saying I would do the vet minimum for Chris. I would do that. That's what I'm saying though. But in some ways, Chris is making big money right now. He's making like 12 million right now. Would he do a smaller contract? I don't know. I don't know. Stargate saying guess I'm too much of a traditionalist. I don't like players playing out of position. Not really a big fan of two center lineups, and I don't like small ball centers. Laugh out loud. They've shown the Shed and the Quickly lineup recently, and it's been cool. The 2-point guard lineup. We know that that's something familiar to Raptors fans with Fred and Kyle before. But the two center lineup for the Raptors is newer. And that with the Cavaliers' success of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley is an area that just does need to be explored. Now, the thing is, if you have Jakob out there with a guy like Ulrich Shamshay, that is not totally a two-center lineup. In some ways, you could have Shamshay be a true four, and it wouldn't be too much. But his shot blocking is like a center. That's the amazing thing about Shamshay. He's mobile enough, and he can get around the court. I really do look at Ulrich as a four right now until he bulks up and gets the experience and really shows that he can be absolute paint protection guy. He's a four. And in some ways, we should be bringing him up as a project as a four right now. But he will naturally grow into being able to play the center also as he gets more strength and experience. So I look at it that way. And Maluak, maybe he is a true center and he can't get away with playing like alongside Jakob in a certain way. But then again, Jakob shows that he's so quick up and down the court and he's playing more like a guard himself. Maybe Maluach is the center and Jakob gets to play four. I'm just saying, I know that those lineups aren't as fun to you, but they can be very overpowering and dominant. And that's the thing I like about it possibly is that, the success of the Cavaliers this year, well, it's a copycat league. In some ways, I might want to copycat what they're doing with Twin Towers is what I'm saying. Yeah, Twin Towers. That's right. Neil saying one thing is for sure. Two players will not be here next season unless we trade our picks. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some turnover, but I think the turnover for our team will be minimal. And honestly, we have so many guys on the books next year already that we can kind of see the core of what our team is already right now. Other than draft pick coming in and maybe very slight little adjustment moves on the fringes of our roster, but nothing major is going to happen this summer. We already know the main players that are going to be on our team next year. We already know. Let's see. Smooth saying 10 million over 3 years for Chris. He already cashed in on his current deal, man. There you go. That's a very doable deal. Chris wants to be here. He can get some longevity, make it a deal like Serge wanted, and say, yeah, we're going to give you a 3-year deal. And that way you have security and you're here on the team, but it's going to be for 10 million for those 3 years. Would he do it? Maybe. But maybe he's thinking, well, I've earned more and I'm ready to continue to earn more. That could be it there. Kaz is saying in the NBA, the veteran minimum salary for 2024 2025, based on years of services, ranges from 2.8 million for 7 years of experience to 3.3 for 10 plus years of experience. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. In some ways, you got to give Chris that 3.3, probably. And that may be doable within the salary cap, but paying him at the rate that he's at right now for next year, I don't see it. And like I said, in his Instagram stories, he's saying he wants to get paid more. He's saying it is making overtures that the money does matter, and he wants the price has gone up, is what he's been saying. Smooth saying if another team wants to offer more, I tell Chris take that offer, and that's what I'm saying about the writing on the wall. That it may be very much so that another team will pay more money for the services of Chris Boucher than the Raptors. And that's his right with the free agency and the market testing of who's going to pay him what. Well, that's that right there. Yeah. The Stargate saying, okay, Shamshay as a 4 I can get with. Yeah. And he, in some ways, he's a project we really do need to allow to have a runway to take off on because I don't want to block him with somebody who comes in some ways, I would want Shamshay to get a level of playing on the Raptors next year that like Mobo did. In some ways, I kind of want Shamshay to jump over Mobo in the depth chart because he's so good that he is undeniably getting the time in some ways. I kind of want to see that. Let's see. Smooth saying, hang on, hold on. Let's see. Blackhawks saying we have done 2 center lineups with Ibaka and Gasol. See, I always this is another case where I may look at it differently and say that Ibaka's a 4. I don't think he's a true 5, but we ran him at 5 a lot in the championship year, and he got used to it. And then we traded for Gasol, and this was brought to light in some of the stuff that's come out, like Open Gym and that stupid Dark Side of the Raptors show, where Ibaka was mad that Gasol got traded to us and took his starting center spot for a while there. There was a little bit of dissension because of Mark. And it's crazy because they were Spanish national team mates and they're very close and good friends. It's just that Serge was used to starting. And then there were the issues with the bubble, with Nick Nurse and Serge Ibaka and benching Serge at certain times. That all went south too. So yeah, that was interesting time. And I always kind of looked at Serge as a 4 at that time, honestly. Reggie saying, I love Chris, but I don't want the Raptors to overpay relative to his use on the team. Yeah, you got to find that sweet Udonis Haslam deals, Chris, if you really want that. And honestly, that's the way I would be negotiating. Forget about making a lot of money in 1 year. Make a lot of money over like the next 5 to 6 years because you sign a long-term contract, but it's a very, very economically friendly contract to the Raptors, just like Haslam did for Miami. That's what you do, bro. If you want to be in the league for a long time and collect a lot of stats, get that veteran minimum and be that guy like Haslam. I'm telling you, man, you can be in the league and enrich yourself, maybe even more if you go for the money now. Seriously, you may have a more long-term in the NBA if you're not too greedy right now. I don't know. It's interesting. This guy's saying, man, I take Kyle Lowry. Yeah, this could be a possibility. We'll have to see what Lowry's thinking, what the money is, and whether he would be open to coming back to Toronto. I think he would be, but maybe not. Maybe not. Partly because the memories here had to do with people like DeMar and Fred and Pascal and the people he played with. And it may be too weird for him to show up and the cast is completely different. But I wouldn't be against this. I'd love Kyle Lowry to be on the Raptors next season as our third point guard behind Emmanuel and Jamal. And I think that the schooling that Kyle Lowry could give Jamal Shed is worth it right there. Is worth it right there, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's worth it right there. And Neil Sandarko did 2 center lineups with Castleton and Orob and Jakob. Yeah, and I liked it. I liked the look of it. I liked how much we rebounded so well. There's no coincidence that the Raptors had 2 of the best rebounding team efforts in the history of the NBA recently with that 2 center lineup out there, with Castleton in particular at the power forward. We broke the record for most rebounds in a game by a team since like 1992, before our franchise even existed. 73 rebounds in a game where we played double centers. So that's intriguing and nice to me, man. The idea of having that kind of dominance on the board. Reggie saying Lowry, Temple, or Chris. Lowry all the way, man. Well, it's an interesting choice, those three, and it's a similar kind of role. The veteran presence on the bench. Who do you pick? Well, a lot of people would pick the Groat in this situation. They would pick the Groat. Yeah. Kaz saying, where has he been saying that on Instagram, Lex? Well, I go and watch Chris's Instagram stories, and we'll do them right now. And he's posting songs. And one of the songs that he posted was Migos. Price is going up. Price is going up. Price is going up. Price is going up. It's not that he's saying it outright. It's the song that he's picking. It's a very pointed message. In some ways, Chris is expressing himself on the down low through his Instagram stories. And there's messages there if you really pay attention. You really pay attention. So we'll go there right now. First of all, we got Eric Smith celebrating the Vlad Guerrero news of last night. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays have agreed to reach an agreement on a $500 million 14-year extension that's pending a physical. Well, the dude's out there playing right now. You can see him. If he's physical enough to be out there playing, I think he's all right. There's no deferred money in this looming deal. None of this Otani shit, making it the second richest contract in terms of present value in the MLB. There you go. I love to see that Vlad Guerrero is back in the fold with us, man. Because in some ways, I hated hearing all this stuff about how he's probably going to go to a team like the Yankees next season. No, thank God. Good job getting the job done, Blue Jays. Maybe there is some hope for your front office after all. Baby Stunner, Eugenio Maroy with his pal looking stylish on his Instagram stories. Nice leather jacket with the chain. Eugene, you're a badass, Gino. We love you, man. Norman has got the 40% rule on blast on his Instagram right now. Dylan Disu has some weird kids dressed up. Leo Routens is still at the TSN studios covering the NCAA tournament, which will wrap up very soon. We're going to have the championship game with the Houston versus Florida. That's an interesting matchup. Jamal Shed, let's go. Let's go, Houston. I love it. Florida players are saying they're not scared of Kelvin Sampson and the Cougars. Well, maybe you should be, because these guys are good. Matt Bonner not doing the broadcast yesterday because it was his 45th birthday on Saturday, and he's also celebrating probably a little hard on the Florida getting to the national championship game too, as a former Gator. That's probably what's happening there. Garrett Temple has got Obama on blast on his thing. Is actually showing an old debate between Obama and McCain and Mitt Romney, and showing that people had class and they actually showed respect for each other. And this is a very, very critical post of Donald Trump, obviously. And yeah, he's showing the ways when there was civility in American politics, and a classy Republican like John McCain is very rare in these days. Now, I would say the closest thing to John McCain at this point in the United States is Adam Kinzinger, and as a Republican. And well, we need more Republicans that have their head on straight, like Adam Kinzinger. So yeah, I like that Garrett's a little political, even if he's not totally political. Savannah Hamilton, the last broadcast of Sportsnet yesterday, they're saying goodbye for the season, thanking all the technical people. Thank you to a lot of the Sportsnet people from me. And I want to thank Alvin Williams, the great Alvin Williams. Thank you for color. And Vince Carter for guesting this season on Sportsnet with so many games. Vince, you are back in my good books. I love you, man. You're a Raptors legend, and I'm proud to say that, man. Seriously, it's emotional because I did hate you at the beginning of the season, but I don't anymore. You did the work, you did the job, you put the time in, and you are a full-fledged Raptor alumni. And I love seeing you in ads now on Raptors official admin wearing Raptors gear and saying, Raptors fans, we've got this event coming up. You've come full circle, my guy. You're fully back in the family, man. We love you, Vince. We love you so much. And Sportsnet, you had a big part in making Vince okay with us again. Seriously, I appreciate that. Matt Devlin, as always, the top-notch, top caliber, best play-by-play announcer in the NBA. And you're just the best at Matt. No off-season injuries, please, sir. And hopefully you just have a great off-season. And we love you. Savannah Hamilton, fantastic job on the sidelines once again for Sportsnet. You're growing and developing as a sideline performer, getting better and better every year. And for the in studio guys, Matt Bonner, Sherman Hamilton, thank you for your insight and your job this year. Blake Murphy, thank you for being a friend on 905 chat and doing a great job with the Raptors show this season also. I just want to give some props to some of the Sportsnet people. I've omitted some of them, and that's on purpose. But yeah, those are the people I want to say thank you to. The Hamiltons, Alvin Williams, Matt Devlin, Vince Carter, Blake Murphy. Thank you, guys. Thank you for great coverage on Rogers Sportsnet this season of the Raptors. I just going to put in that little bit of saying that, seeing Savannah Hamilton's Instagram right here in her stories. She's on a thing called Cinderella Stories, which is a podcast with Ashley Docking. So y'all check out Savannah Hamilton's show, Cinderella Stories. That's a podcast, I guess. Let's see. And she's got Gino Omeroy, the coach, the Connecticut coach on blast with Paige, who they did really good. They won. And the quote is, he told me he loved me, and I told him I hated him. That's so funny. But yeah, a coach can make you hate him sometimes because they make you work so hard. No, I love the man like more than words can describe. There you go. Beautiful stuff. The women's tournament culminating with the victory of UConn, another championship for that storied program. And yeah, everybody watches women's sports as evidenced at the NBA courtside restaurant and the Toronto Tempo's watch party that they had yesterday. Jacoby Walter putting on blast Jamal Shed for his 12 assists yesterday, a career high, and also his other rookie teammate, Jonathan Mobo, for his first ever double-double. Love to see the support. There's Shed putting his own accomplishment on blast on his Instagram stories, and he's got some of the highlights from the game yesterday. There he's celebrating Jonathan also. Deuce, baby, double-double, 17 and 11. There you go. There you go. AJ Lawson showing his fit coming into the game on his Instagram stories. Then there's a layup he had in the game yesterday. Jonathan Mobo with the big jam from Jamal Shed. And there he is with the chain, and he's saying God is good. Love to see that. Let's see. There's his double-double. Jared Roden with a highlight of him getting a dime from RJ in transition where he laid it up. You know, Jared Roden is just like Oshai. He's got that strong upper body, and he's a really good finisher. And this is actually a really good skill to have in the NBA, being able to finish through contact and other players trying to stop you and still getting the layup in over them. So, yeah, Jared Roden in some ways is a lot like Oshai Abaji as a great finisher at the rim. And he was doing that last night, not really making the shots outside, but Roden going into the basket and getting jams and layups. Yeah, he missed his obs. There's a picture of Jared Roden with a little girl named Obs. That's pretty cool. And there he is coming into the game. Yeah, good stuff, Jared Roden. There's Grady and his fit coming into the game. There's Lloyd saying, get a triple-double, man. And I'm like, 100%. That's what I was saying to Lloyd about that. Toronto Tempo Prez, Teresa Resch was not at the watch party at NBA Courtside Restaurant. She was actually at the championship game down there in, I guess it was in Florida or something, Amalie Arena, Tampa. Yeah, so Teresa was actually at courtside watching the women's final and scouting, obviously. And she was there with Monica Rogers-Wright. So Toronto Tempo staff getting the straight front row seat on that championship Final Four the women's. Yeah, good stuff. There you go. You can see them all there, happy and at courtside. So they weren't at the restaurant. They were actually at the game. Yeah, let's see. Is there anything else in the Instagram stories I should cover for you guys real quick? Masai Ujiri posted something yesterday in the Instagram stories. That's kind of rare sometimes. He's leveling the playing field, inspiring change through sport. International Day of Sport for Development and Peace 2025. And so he was hanging out with some big wigs yesterday. Roger Federer, guys, and other people at this conference about sports and peace. And that's fantastic. That's fantastic stuff. Masai is a humanitarian and is a diplomat, and he's also a politician to an extent, guys. And he's a mover and a shaker, and he's doing good for this world. Whether it's stuff that he's doing back in the continent of Africa, whether it's stuff he's doing here in the country of Canada. Masai Ujiri is bigger than NBA. I'm just saying. And in some ways, his work that he carries on himself is a legacy of his idol, Nelson Mandela. So keep going, Masai Ujiri, with all your initiatives and plans and things that you have in the works to help this world be a better place and a more equitable place for all. That's what I'm saying right there. Boom goes the dynamite. There's Open Gym showing the Jamal Shed reaction to Houston's win. And then also, this was a funny thing. This is what Chris posted on his Instagram. We saved the best for last. Raptors Update has a clip of Chris busting in on a Kayla Gray interview with Jamal Shed and RJ Barrett, talking about the Houston versus Duke matchup on Saturday night. And basically what was said in it was Chris Boucher pointed to RJ and said his team got put out by me and my team, Oregon, in the tournament when I was there. And he just wanted to say that. And RJ's kind of getting crapped on a little bit. And then Kayla Gray is talking, and RJ said, "What my team Duke ended Jamal Shed's college career," and that's true too. Like Duke put Shed out of the tournament, and then they were doing a mean mugging competition where there's a picture of Jamal and RJ mean mugging, and Kayla kind of sells RJ out. It's kind of bullshit. She's saying your mean mug seems kind of forced, RJ, and I'm like, why are you saying that to poor RJ like that, man? RJ's getting the all kinds of disrespect all around the league in different places, even from Kayla Gray about his ability to mean mug, and he's saying that's crazy. That's crazy. You said that, Kayla, and I agree. I'm with RJ. He has a natural mean mug, and Jamal's mean mug isn't bad, but he kind of looked goofy in his mean mug picture. RJ's like a serious mean mug. So I got to disagree with Kayla Gray on the mean mug breakdown there. And why are you doing that to RJ like that? Was crazy what you did, what you said, Kayla Gray. There's your Instagram stories for today. Yeah, today is very lighthearted. It's Chris talking about Oregon beating Duke in there. Yeah, yeah. That segment's going to go away. And in some ways, I'm going to have to figure out a new way to do things as far as there'll be new segments. In some ways, I don't need Instagram or Facebook to do this channel. I will do this channel without them, despite it. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Where are we in the chat here? No. Okay. Wow. You guys filled it up a good bit here. Yeah. Let me see. Okay, Blackhawks saying we can go big or small with our current roster. Yeah, there's flexibility and there's different offensive weapons. That's the thing I like. You look at our top guys, the barbecue with Brandon, and they're all different kind of offensive players. Scotty isn't Brandon. Brandon isn't RJ. RJ isn't Emmanuel. Emmanuel's not Jakob. And they all present problems for defending teams that are trying to defend them. Coaches are going to go crazy trying to figure out their schemes for the Raptors. In fact, they're going to probably hope that we have rest days for different guys and that we're not playing all of them all the time. Because when we have all them available, the defensive coordinator of our teams is going to be like, I don't know what to do. Scotty does this, and we have to really pay attention to him. But then again, Brandon is this, and RJ, of course, is unstoppable this way. Yeah, we're going to be a nightmare. We're going to be a nightmare for defensive coordinators of all the NBA teams for next year when Brandon shows up healthy. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad for them. Neil saying with Shamshe and Mobo need to remain in 905. I think this is true. I think next year they will be very important for them down there. I agree with this. Although I would, like I said, I'd like to see Ulrich get more time on the Raptors proper because we need to get him more adjusted to that level of play. In some ways, he showed he could dominate the 905 last season while he was still healthy. But, we want to increase the difficulty for him to get the best out of him over time. Baby steps, as Darko said, when it comes to Shamshe. Baby steps. Yeah, Wayne's saying, if what you're saying is true about Chris, then I wish him to go to Boston. Chris can shoot, and Boston is best for him. Raptor Freaks, it's not about our dislike for Boston. It's just thinking of Chris. So you just want to do that for Chris as a solid and give him a nice winning situation where he could be useful. Yeah, maybe that does work. I don't know. I don't know. I hate the idea of that because we love Chris and we hate Boston. And in some ways, I can't look past that. I'm sorry. I can't look past that. There must be another team that fits similarly that'll work just as well. Stargate saying at Blackhawk. So who replaces Scotty at power forward off the bench when Scotty goes to the bench? Well, I would say, well, right now it's Jonathan, the way that they've been doing it right now, and that could still be true. Like I said, I mean, it could very well be like we get Malawatch. What if we don't get Common? What if we get Derek Queen? And Derek Queen is kind of the 4-5 kind of player, and he's young. What if we get Asa Newell, who's a straight up power forward? I mean, I've said that I just want to draft a big. Malawatch is my number one choice, but those other two guys are in the realm of possibility also, depending on where the ping pong balls land. And if it's Asa Newell of Georgia, that's a more pure, straight up power forward. And he's a lottery pick. And Jonathan's first round pick in the second round. So that's what I'm saying. In some ways, it could be that they fill this backup power forward position indirectly, partly because of the lottery pick we get in the first round. That's what I'm saying right there. Let's see. Kaz is saying Chris sending subliminal messages. It's more that it's a way for him to express himself on the down low without feeling like he can't. And he can't just outright say stuff because it could really hurt him professionally. But in some ways, he may be sending little messages here and there. And he's done this for a couple years now. And I try to pay very close attention to this. I really do. Really, really do. Pat Love is saying Shamshay is Scotty and Ingram's apprentice with Yaka boxing out skill. I think Pat Love's right. That's what I'm saying. Shamshay's importance to this team is going to grow huge, and we don't want people in the way of him. If we went and got a new power forward and we signed them to like a 3 or 4 year contract, I say that's not a good idea. Maybe you get a short-term rental in some sort of way. We got to realize the different roles on the roster positions are different. Chris is, like I said, he has to be a little bit more like Garrett Temple if he's going to hang out on this team. He's going to get a lot of DMPs, and he's going to be insurance, and he needs to be on a veteran minimum if he's going to be on the Raptors going forward, because there's projects that are going to come up. They're going to take those minutes, and he's already feeling it with Mobo. You know, Mobo and Chris and Scotty were so tight at the beginning of the year, and you can feel kind of a little bit of a distance from Chris with Mobo, partly because in some ways that guy's been eating up his minutes. So, it is what it is. Trevor's saying WNBA draft is next week. I wish that the Tempo were involved. I would be all over it and covering it really, really intensely. If our franchise here in Toronto was starting out this year, I wish they were. I really do wish they were. I feel like they could have been. I feel like we had enough time to lead up into this, but the WNBA has a way of doing things with the schedule, and we got to do it the way that they dictate it since we're the new team on the block, Toronto Tempo. Well, I wish we were drafting next week. I really do. Let's go Cougars. Yeah, I'm with the Cougars for the national championship. Beat Florida. I'm all about Jamal's team right now. Yeah. Neil saying, RJ, Brandon Ingram, take your pick. If we are serious next season, then Darko will have to come up with a tighter rotation. That's what I'm saying also. And it's like with such a good starting lineup that's so diverse, you're really like in some ways, you could maybe get away with not having a true backup power forward because like we said, RJ could play power forward a little bit. Brandon could play power forward a little bit. And would the idea be like instead of bringing a power forward off the bench, you bring in Shed and play him next to Quickly and shift everybody up, and we're a smaller, faster lineup with like RJ at small forward and Brandon at power forward. Something like that with Scotty out. There's all kinds of different ways he could shift our rotation around with the personnel he has. So that I'm just saying it's not totally necessary maybe to get this power forward that Stargate thinks we need to get. So Kareem saying, what is the poll about? Are we getting Luka or something? All right. There was an ESPN article that was put out by ESPN. It's not a fake trade. It's just an article saying, what if Luka had been shopped around for the whole entire NBA to possibly make a deal with the Mavericks? What would the other 28 teams' deals have been for Luka? And ESPN's proposing that our deal would be Emmanuel Quickly, Grady Dick, Oshai Abaji, and 3 first-round picks to land Luka. And we keep everybody else. We'd have Luka, Brandon, RJ, Scotty, and Jakob. And I was asking the Raptor Freaks, would you do that deal? That's what it was right there. Yeah, I was just pulling to see it. Yeah, that what was the trade? That's it. Not sure. I can't. I came late. It's quickly Dick and Abaji plus 3 first-round picks for Luca, basically straight up. And vote in the poll according to what I just told you. Yeah, vote in the poll. Chris Boucher should stay with a bigger signing bonus. There you go. That may be a way to work around it. I think Pat Love is the MVP today with the comments right now. Pat Love coming in here with good stuff, like a good pitcher in the MLB. He's got good stuff today. He's really putting a zip on the ball. Yeah, I can get behind this. Put a bigger signing bonus on Chris. Let's give him incentives. Maybe you give him incentives. Chris, if you play 51 games, we'll pay you another $500,000. All right, I'll do it, Bobby. Bobby, play me. I'm sitting on 50. Oh, we can't pay you the $500,000 now. We need you to just sit for the rest of the season at 50 games. What the hell, Bobby? Something like that. Stargate saying Matt does baseball in the basketball offseason. Laugh out loud. That's the thing. Yeah, Matt Devlin will do some Blue Jays games, which is awesome. Yeah, he's an all-around great announcer. And, man, he really is a real one, man. People I know, I love Chuck Swirsky too, and he's always going to be a part of our history. But Matt Devlin is the voice of the Raptors at this point. And Chuck Swirsky is always a voice of the past Raptors, and he is honored too. I mean, I don't like people that have to choose between the two of them. Oh, I hate Matt Devlin because I'm Chuck Swirsky forever. I'm like, come on, man, get with the times. When's the last time Chuck Swirsky called our game for us? Yeah, it's been almost 20 years. So allow Matt Devlin to be the new voice of the Raptors, people. Come on now. That's what I'm saying right there. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Let's see. Fiercey saying at Kareem, IQ, Grady, Abaji, and 3 picks for Luca. That's right. And Kaz saying to the rest of Sportsnet, 2 finger salute. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, in some ways, it's kind of like that scene in Office Space, Kaz. It was like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're okay. I like you. Yeah, it's a little bit like that. It's a little bit like that. I mean, the people I omitted, I don't need to say their names. They're the people that I'm not a big fan of that have to do with that broadcast. So I mentioned the people I love on that channel. That's right. Blake Murphy's my new friend. He wasn't on that category a couple of years ago, but because Blake and I have talked and he's interacted with me, he's been very friendly, very helpful, very informative. I'm very much a big Blake Murphy fan at this point. I was before too. There's just sometimes he'll make some opinions and I'll be like, yeah, I can't get behind that, Blake. But I appreciate him, and there will be a Share the Love Club for Blake Murphy this summer, guys. There will be. It's coming. It's coming. Neil saying, forgiveness is light, hatred is heavy. Which one do you want to carry? I like that. I like that. Yeah, that's a powerful statement. And wisdom is in that statement. It's too bad there's not enough wise people that understand this whole way that this works. Yeah, man, that's such a deep statement. It's like Blackhawk just dropped words of wisdom in the middle here. Forgiveness is light, hatred is heavy. Yeah, man, it's tough, man. It's tough because in some ways we've got people that are really ruling through hate right now, and it's easy to just get to their level and stoop to it. But in some ways, the answer to beat them is actually in the opposite and is the light of the forgiveness. Even though it's like this is what Christ would want. It's like, look, they do me wrong. They put tariffs. They caused my life to be harder because the prices are going up. I should hate them. But in some ways, I forgive them for they do not know the evil that they do in some ways, on some levels, because they're idiots. And in some ways, what that is the right action. Love will prevail in the end, whether it's through the darkness and the sadness and the awfulness. In the end, love survives and love wins out in the end because love is light. Man, thank you, Blackhawk. Wow, wow. Kaz saying 3 first-round picks, MJ? Yeah, 3 first-round picks along with those 3 players to get Luca. It's an insane deal, honestly. I see that three quarters of you guys are saying no. 74% are saying no. That deal is not worth it for Luka Doncic. Yeah. Smooth saying the Jays just got swept in New York by the Mets. Last 2 games were very winnable, so this is a much needed good news. Yeah, I'm happy for you, man. I know that you were in a tough place with the Vlad talk about a month or so ago when a lot of it was going down. You were giving me daily updates, and I'm glad that this turn of events has happened at this point. You deserve this, Reggie. You deserve to feel good about this. That's right. Vladdy until 2040. That sounds insane to me, but I got to realize it is 2025, and that is about the length of his contract. That's crazy. Kaz saying, Smooth, do you think Vlad is worth that contract? I don't watch baseball. I wonder about that too. I mean, he is one of the premier players in the league, and now he's going to be one of the highest paid players. So, I mean, I don't know. The Smooth saying, Blue Jays rotation is a top 10 rotation in the MLB, but their hitting problems persist. So it sounds like he's necessary to keep because he's one of the few really good hitters on the team. So he's necessary to keep. Blackhawk saying Teresa is strictly business. Toronto Tempo's in good hands. Yeah, I love that she's at the game right up front. And somebody posted that this young lady named Strong is who they're kind of getting their eyes on. Was there a player in the championship game named Strong? Well, some people are saying we need to draft them for the Toronto Tempo next year. That'll be interesting. Yeah, we'll have to see. Kaz saying my wife liked Jamal's mean mug more than RJ's. I think that in some ways, I feel like Jamal's mean mug is kind of goofy. I know RJ's is kind of goofy too, but I'm serious, man. Like when you see RJ play, you see how he plays. I'm like, yeah, that dude is serious. You don't want to mess with him. You don't want to mess with him. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a hometown guy and standing with my hometown guy. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's part of my loyalty there. Smooth saying at Cavs, Blue Jays had no choice. I mean, with his contract, it tells MLB Toronto is serious and retains their people. That is the most important thing right there. And like I said, in relation to the Raptors, with Rodgers being the primary owner now, we need to be able to see that they're willing to spend some money to win. And that move with Vlad is showing that on the Blue Jays side of business. So in some ways, Scotty's already got his big contract that he just did an extension on. Emmanuel's got one now too. Well, we're gonna have to see what happens. Is Toronto Raptors going to get the coin purse, the pocketbook to open up so that Masai Ujiri can have the right team for him to actually get the second Larry O'Brien for the Raptors? Because there's been question about this with the MLB team with the Blue Jays for a few years now. Is Rodgers running this team just to have a profit, or is he trying to win? And well, that's something that Toronto fans are very sensitive to with the Maple Leafs and what they've been for decades now. It's like, are you going to actually spend it to try and go over the top and win it? That's the thing. And that's some ways up to Rodgers. Rodgers can see the economic boon that a Raptors championship was in 2019 and understand it is good economic policy for a sports team to win a championship. So hopefully he's serious about bringing more championships to the city of Toronto through the franchises he owns. And I think this decision to invest in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a good sign. Let's just put it that way. I think it's a good sign. 10-4, good buddy. There you go. Trucker Kaz gave you a 10-4, good buddy. There you go. Smooth saying Vladdy has a bloodline. His dad played for the Expos, Angels, and is a Hall of Fame player. I will always dislike Boston. It's heavy. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's why I can't get behind Chris going there. No. But yeah, Vladimir Guerrero Sr. was one of my favorite MLB players of all time. I did have him on my fantasy baseball team back in the day. It was when he was on the Anaheim Angels, and he was in the later parts of his career. But yeah, man, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is one of the better hitters in this league. And it's not only that he hits for power, he's a contact hitter that gets on base at a good percentage also. And that's what I know of him in my very limited knowledge of baseball, is that he's both kind of hitters. He's a power hitter and he can hit for contact. And that's not always that's not common. That's not always common. Yeah. James is saying, Lex, Malawach wasn't too dominant on Saturday. Do we still pick him? I'm leaning towards Queen or Asa Newell. He's just a lob threat. No other offensive skills. Very raw. Well, that was one of my concerns with him is, and I said this in recent weeks, that if we brought in Common, he might be at the same level as Shamshay. Shamshay is younger, and in some ways, he's just as raw as Common Mulach. But is the thing. They could be twin towers coming up together, and they are close friends, guys. Common and Ulrich are friends, and they know each other already. So it could be a very good twin tower pairing coming up in our system because they're kind of at the same level. Even though Shamshay's already in the league with a year under his belt, he didn't really get the full NBA experience. He was more on G League, and he was hurt for half the season. So you bring in Malawach, and all of a sudden Shamshay has a partner and a buddy that he's kind of palling around together, and they're kind of progressing and even competing against each other to bring the best out of each other. So I don't know. Maybe in some ways, maybe Common is too similar to Shamshay as a project, And maybe the difference of having an Asa Newell or a Derek Queen is a better idea also. I could see that being a part of it also there. Yeah, I heard criticism about how Malawach played against Houston and that he kind of got bodied by a 6'8" guy and kind of got controlled by a smaller player on the Houston Cougars. And yeah, that is a red flag. And there could very well be, because it's such a spectacle and a big stage, the Final Four, that his stock dropped a little bit. But that could actually work out in the favor of a team that does want to get him, because he's kind of fallen out of top 5 consideration and more in the bottom 5 of the top 10 of their draft. And that could actually work in the favor of the Raptors landing him if we do actually want him, if Masai is all about Malawach. Yeah. May 12th, baby. Yeah, baby. May 12th. Let's go. That's the ping pong balls, right? That's the ping pong balls. James Stargate saying, James, you have to consider our development system. We don't draft players according to production or lack thereof. In 1 or 2 college games, the select process doesn't work like that. This is a good point by Stargate also. That one bad game in the Final Four, in some ways, it's the potential. It's the physical body that the guy has already. We can see potential in what he could be. That was something people said all along, that Common would be an offensive project, that he could come in and do good things on an NBA team with rebounding and blocking shots, but his offense is going to need project work to get somewhere to a good place. So, yeah, that's something that's definitely true about that. Kaz saying, in some ways, Common having a bad game might help us. Yeah, I was just saying that. Actually, I didn't read your comment yet or knew you said that. Great minds think alike. All right, Kaz, since you said something that I naturally said before I saw your comment, you're getting a dunk. It could actually help us land him because he had a bad Final Four game. Exactly. I like that. Where's Kaz? Trucker Kaz. He's on here somewhere. Kaz is... Why do I not see him? I know he's on here. Is he near the bottom? It's an add-on down here. There he is, right there. He's at 24. 24. Yeah, I need to re-alphabetize the list for some reason. I don't know why it's not in order. Stargate saying Cooper Flagg choked in that game and couldn't carry his team as a superstar. Does he not go number 1 anymore because of that? Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. He's probably still number 1. Yeah, I watched this piece that Michael Grange made about Cooper Flagg before the game last night on Sportsnet. And I'm like, man, what are you, his agent? Seriously. Like, what is this fluff piece on Cooper Flagg that Sportsnet put out that Michael Grange did last night before the game? Like, what is that crap? Seriously. Are you his agent? Do you have a investment in Cooper Flagg stock or something that you would promote him so heavy like that? In some ways, this is the mechanism of manufacturing the superstar golden boy before he even shows up and does anything. Michael Grange setting the stage for that already, saying he's a transformational player. He's a once in a generational player. All this hype bullshit, which I absolutely do not buy in. Another thing I'll say right now is, I must say this right now. Michael Grange covers the Toronto Raptors, but I'll bet you in his personal life on the down low, he's a Celtics fan, guys. I'm serious. He may be from Toronto. He may be Canadian. He may be like covering the Raptors. But I'm telling you, in some ways, his energy and the way he shows proclivities for what he likes, I think he's a big Celtics fan on the down low that just covers the Raptors because he's a Canadian guy up here and this is his market. I get those vibes from him, seriously. And his piece on Cooper Flagg smacked to this so much last night. Seriously. Smacked to this so much. James is saying we also have Shamshay to develop. I would pick an offensive center. Queen got all sorts of skills, and Asa Newell is a decent shooter, decent defensively as well. Well, we'll just have to see. Once again, I don't know better than Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster. And I'm going to trust them that whatever we pick, because of the lottery, the skill that they have and aptitude of judging talent for the NBA is a proven track record of winning and being smart with OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam, a Jacoby Walter, a Scotty Barnes. I don't care where we draft because I know that they're going to pick the best possible pick for us at that spot. And if it's Asa Newell, if it's Derek Queen, if it's Common Mulawach, well, I do want a big. That's the only thing I'm trying to say to them right now is I do want a big. That's right. Let's see. Jumped ahead a little bit. I want to make sure I read every single one of these. Neil saying Vlad is not getting what he is worth. He's getting what he fought for. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know about this cap structure in the MLB and whether that deal is fair for him or not. I cannot opine on this in a knowledgeable way, so I cannot say. Stargate saying I prefer Queen as well. I think he fits better, but he is not a very good defender. Common is way better defensively. He's a good shot blocker. Well, that may be the thing that determines things. It's like, does Masai want a defensive oriented center that is an offensive project? Or does he want a more refined offensive player that he needs to get Coach Darko to get better defensively? In some ways, if we're talking about that and we want a difference and a variance, well, Shamshay's a defensive center that needs to learn his offense. So maybe it is a Derek Queen that comes to our team that's more offensively gifted, and he needs to learn. So we have some sort of difference in choices. You need a defensive type player out there to hold the other team off because we have a lead. Shamshay plays the rest of the game. We're behind and we need more offense. You have Derek Queen on the bench as the other choice. You put him out there. That's actually a very good point, and that makes sense what Stargate's saying. Cat's saying, I was thinking about winning chips in the West. Wemby is going to be dominant for years to come. If we make the finals, Common would be the perfect matchup for Wemby, in my opinion. Yeah, we do need to think about how the league is getting bigger, and these really tall, long arm players are going to be more and more important for helping teams to win in some ways. Now, I don't totally believe that Wemby is a slam dunk, that he's going to be the dominant player in this league. In some ways, he needs to fill out still and show certain things in some ways. Defensively, for me to totally get behind that. The Achilles heel for the Spurs in some ways is defense. They're going to be fine with him in weird offensive ways. But I know he's a great shot blocker and he has the Wemby effect. But there's still some holes in his game. And I'm not totally buying that the Spurs are going to be the dominant team and they're going to win all these championships coming up just because of Wemby. It's not that simple. There's still some more things that have to happen in San Antonio for that to happen. And it's obvious because they haven't been a winning team for the 2 years he's played so far. So it's going to be interesting to see that. And I'm not ready to pencil in San Antonio as like a dynasty going forward just because Victor's there. I'm not willing to do that. Stargate saying Queen is better offensively and is a better playmaker. You can make those same sets you run with Jakob and Derek Queen. Well, that's very attractive. In some ways, that's part of the thing that we liked about Kelly is that he could be the same kind of passing hub. So if a Queen has those kind of chops offensively with the passing and the court vision, well, that may be the better pick. I don't know. Once again, I just picked Malawatch first because he's the most high profile. He was ranked higher than the other guys. And also he's 7'2", which is another thing that is a plus for the Duke player over the other two guys we're talking about. Yeah. Bryce is saying Queen is hang on, definitely the better pick in my opinion. Although Common would be really nice to have. His athleticism and size would be essential, but he isn't connected offensively like Queen, in my opinion. I'm glad to hear a diverse set of voices from the RFF on the subject. And it seems like there is a lot of different choices here. When we're getting close to the draft, we may have a poll like we just did about the Luka trade that was proposed by ESPN about, well, who do you prefer, Queen or Malawatch? And we'll get really into the nitty gritty of this in the offseason once the Raptors stop playing. We will get more in depth on this subject because that's what we're looking forward to next. Yeah, Trevor's saying Michael Grange is a booty kisser. Anna's ass kisser. Anna an ass kisser. Anna ass kisser. That's funny. All right, you're being funny in your name calling. So even though this is childish, I'm going to go ahead and give you a dunk, Trevor, for your silly childish calling him a booty head. You sound like somebody's niece or something. You're a booty head. Booty kisser. You're a booty kisser. That's hilarious, Trevor. You're awesome. You got a dunk. Kat saying, I need official stats from the draft to combine. If Queen isn't at least 6'10", that's going to suck. There you go. We got to see what his actual height is, and we got to see what he does with his vertical leap, and we got to see what his wingspan is. Yeah, those stats. We're going to find out. Neil saying, media has to find that player they elevate above all. Last year it was Caitlin Clark and Wemby. This year is Cooper. Same BS, different year. Yeah, it's just that this piece that he put out was so fluff and such a booty kisser. Yeah, he really was a booty kisser. on that. And I'm like, seriously, are you in the management group for Cooper Flag? Are you putting out propaganda for this guy for the draft? It's not like you need to do this, Michael Grange. And of course, he's comparing him to Larry Bird. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's a small town guy from somewhere. It's like, Michael Grange, can you just show me your white supremacy carrying card that you have here? I mean, seriously, bro. Seriously. In some ways, like there's certain people that are in the media for the Raptors, and I'm like, they're part of the thing that Stargate's talking about, upholding the, the underlying whiteness of, the NBA being presented in Canada. It's like, in some ways, like I like seeing more diversity in the announce crews, because for a long, long time, it was just white guys covering the Raptors. And is much better that now we have like former players like Alvin Williams, Sherman Hamilton, and Matt Bonner, even though he's a white guy. These things are good because they're bona fide instead of just like white guy who wanted to do hockey, but he got stuck with basketball instead. And that's kind of like what happened in the 90s for covering the Raptors. There were a lot of guys who were covering the Raptors who didn't want to. They would rather cover the NHL, but they got stuck with the Raptors assignment. And yeah, in some ways that's what that smacked of a little bit. In some ways, that also is part of why this hype for Cooper Flag bugs me, because that you guys are maybe putting a little extra overhype on him. And this is something historically that they've done throughout the history of the NBA and the ABA. In the book I'm reading right now, they talk about Rick Barry and his ability to jump from the NBA to the ABA. And he couldn't have done that if he was a black player at that time. He would have been ostracized and just ran through the coals in the media at that time. If a black player had the audacity to do what Rick Barry did when he jumped from the Golden State Warriors to the Oakland Oaks of the ABA, because he was white, he could get away with it. And in some ways, he was revered, and they were like, he got a pass for it. That's the thing. There's always kind of a weird color thing that has to do with the NBA. Some people say, oh, you shouldn't see color, but this has always been kind of a weird way. And I mean, Cooper Flag being a white guy, that's just in some ways very convenient for certain kind of objectives. Let's just put it that way. In some ways, in the underlying kind of whole scheme of, yeah. Anyway, I'll just stop there on that right there. Yeah. Let's see. Bryce is saying Common only brings size. He's a lob threat. That his defensive presence is there, but we aren't lacking in that area. Queen will mold much better offensively, and we can work with his defense. Making good cases for the Queen argument, guys. In fact, I'm starting to get a little swayed here as far as the idea of it's an offensive versus defensive choice. And in some ways, we've got great defensive prospects in our lineup already for the bigs. Maybe we do need another offensive kind of minded big in Queen instead. You guys are making a really good argument for me, and you're swaying me, Bryce. You guys are swaying me right now. Trevor's saying we're not looking for a second project. We already have Shamshay. All right, we need somebody who can help right away. Trevor adding his 2 cents right there, and I can't disagree with him. But projects, we can have a lot of projects. We have a lot of them, but I agree with you. In some ways, if we have Malawach, he may be too similar to the Shamshay project that we've already got investment in right there. We already got that invested in. Stargate saying exactly that's just it. Common is 7'2". You can't teach that. Boom. Another great point. This is what we do. Point, counterpoint. We're not necessarily denigrating into immature name calling. No, I like Common so much. I hate you. I'm going to fight you about Derek Queen. And they're like, no, none of this. This is an intelligent, mature conversation where we're getting counterpoints and points. And I'm hearing good stuff. And in some ways, Stargate just said, yeah, you can't teach 7'2". There's a point for why we may want to get Malawach. I mean, I'm just saying, Bryce is saying Queen is 6'10" without shoes. Well, it's crazy what even just 3 inches can matter in the NBA. It really can. James is saying, I want to see a lineup of Jacoby, Ingram, Scotty Queen, and Shamshay. That's a nasty, huge lineup. You're slotting Ingram at shooting guard. James, you're a madman. You are a madman. I love it. I love it. I love it. In fact, you don't even need to put Ingram at shooting guard. You can put Scotty at shooting guard, or you could put Scotty at point guard. That's what you're doing there. You put Scotty at point guard, Jacoby at shooting guard, Ingram at small forward, and Queen and Shamshay, it doesn't matter. One of them's a 4 and one of them's a 5. Wow. James, you're crazy, man. You're a madman. I love it. I love it, man. Creep saying, Bryce, my fellow Kentucky Wildcat friend, we need a rim runner and a rim protector. Queen can't play defense. Yes, a great offensive talent, but you can't teach size and wingspan. Well, this is interesting. We've definitely got two camps here, and there's a couple of people on both sides. This is fantastic. This is going to be a good Thursday think tank, guys. This is gonna be a good one, and we'll do the call-in show. And I want all you guys that are having strong opinions on this debate versus Queen versus Common to call in on that day and really give it in your own voice on the show. I want to hear this. This is gonna be a Thursday think tank for sure. We're gonna do a Common versus Queen for sure, and we may have to have Asa in there too, as far as talking about him. Cass saying, not saying they're lying about their height, but colleges like to inflate those numbers. Well, it's inflated. He's saying 7'2". Well, he's got to be at least 7 foot, at least, right? If he's 6'11", well, he's got to be at least 6'9", right? That's kind of where I go. It's like, all right, we'll give him an inch or two less. Or, in some cases, if you're on the Raptors and you're playing in the league, give them 2 more inches than what they are. 6'7", Scotty Barnes. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, they can be inflated or deflated to make people think that they're shorter than they actually are. Yeah, Scotty's 6'9". He's not 6'7". I can't believe the NBA still lists him at that. That's crazy, man. That's right. Stargate saying both Queen and Malawatch have pros and cons. Just depends on what Bobby Masai and Darko believe is best to make this team successful. That's right. And their proprietary insider knowledge of being on the team on the inside it's the best over anything that we're going to decide here. That's right. Kaz is saying next year will be AJ Dybunsta. Watch. That's going to be the player they're going to overhype like Cooper Flagg is AJ. I've heard this name already a couple times. I'm sure I'm going to hear it way, way more times in the next year. I'm sure I am. Kareem saying, anyways, Flagg and Malawatch are going to run it back. You think they're both going to return to Duke and play another year there? Who knows? That may be annoying. Seriously, I kind of want them to just come out so we don't have to hear about them anymore. Neil saying, don't worry, Scotty Barnes will shut down Cooper Flagg in my best Darko voice. There you go. I believe that too. I believe that. There you go. And Stargate's laughing at Kareem. Wouldn't that be something? If they both came back, that would be funny. Bryce is saying, Kareem, my fellow RFF, you are right. You can't deny Common's size and ability, but he's only 18. And either way, I'm fine with whoever we pick, as long as it's a backup big. Yeah, I like that we're all on the same page on this. Some parts of Raptors Nation are still arguing about the positions we need. And like people that are arguing for like wings on our team, you're crazy. We don't need more wings on this team. Absolutely not. We definitely need more bigs. And then second, we may need a point guard. And that's it. That's it. I don't see us needing any more wings. I mean, people are already trying to trade Grady Dick out of here because Walter's playing better now. And it's like, we got good wings. And I want Walter here still. Yeah. Yeah. I love that you guys are saying, I'm okay with whatever, but we need to discern this. And it's not like we have camps that are versus. We're just RFF. We're kibitzing and talking it out and trying to figure out more through the information. This is the best way to do it. This is exactly what a think tank does. They add in the information, their opinions, their views, their perspectives, and we enlighten each other with each other's ideas and views of it. And we get a better, wholly solidified vision of the whole thing from all of our perspectives being added. And that's important. That is very important for a good, well-rounded think tank. That's what I'm saying. That's right. Facts, Bryce. I will not be mad at Queen. Either one I would be cool with. See, we're seeing both sides saying, I'd be okay with Common. I'd be okay with Queen. And that's the right way to be right now. Stargate saying it, Neil, heck, even Jalen Duren and Beef Stew would crumple him up like a piece of foil paper. Y'all saw that Shaq came out recently and said that if he was playing against Chet and Victor, he'd make them quit the NBA. Shaq's funny, man. He's saying it's like if I still played and these guys are in the league, I'd hurt them. I'd mess them up. There is some truth to this. Because there were players back in the day that Shaq played against when he was playing in his prime that he destroyed, and they were little skinny guys like this. He absolutely would destroy people. So Shaq's not just talking out of his ass. Young people that think like Shaq, Shaq's just talking out of his ass. Old head talking out of his ass. No, there is some evidence from Shaq's career where he hurt people bad or he made them look real bad, and all of a sudden they lost their job in the NBA because they couldn't hold their weight around Shaquille. So basically what O'Neal's saying, he's either going to go against Wemby, he's going to push him around like a rag doll, and he'll make him look like he doesn't belong in the same court as him. And I believe he could do that, honestly. because Shaq was that dominant, that forceful as a force of nature with that kind of size and agility and athleticism. Yeah, because it's true. There were some guys that had the body frames of Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama that did have to compete with Shaq in his era, and they were decimated, absolutely decimated. So in some ways, I could see where Shaq's saying this. I don't know if they'd quit, but he'd definitely make them look bad. Oh, yeah, he would. I mean, if he could make the Admiral, David Robinson, look bad, he could make Chet Holmgren look bad. Yeah, he can make him look bad. That's right. Crumple him up like a piece of paper. Trevor's saying you cannot teach height and talent, but you can teach how to play the game. That's yeah. These are all great, valid points, man. Blackhawk's saying Beef Stew needs a muzzle on court. He's rabid. He's crazy, man. Stargate saying Asa is athletic and fast, can be a little out of control at times, and is a bit slender. Needs to strengthen up. Okay. And Blackhawk saying Cooper will get multiple welcome to the NBA moments. I believe this is true for sure. Kaz is saying I definitely believe Shaq on that. Yeah, the size and strength and all that, like he could actually hurt them. He could literally injure them if they're not careful. Coming down, if he's throwing the ball down and they're around him and their arm just gets caught by him, he could wrench their arm pretty bad. He could break somebody's arm, seriously. So, yeah, I would believe Shaq on that. Stargate saying, wait until Cooper has to deal with a defender like Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. Interesting. Shaq would absolutely body Chet into the post. Yeah, he was a bulldozer. Yeah, I agree with all of this stuff you guys are saying. All right, let's do the classic card. I've gotten to the end of the chat. You guys have been very chatty today. I like it. I've had enough of yearly draft prospects hype train. Yeah. Why can't we just watch the game? Everybody who loves the draft so much, that talks about the draft 365 days a year, y'all are draft fans. You're not NBA fans. And y'all need to stop. Seriously, stop what you're doing. All right, here we go. Here's the classic card of the day, guys. Please give me the full name answer. If you don't, you might get seagulled and somebody else might come in and steal it from you because you didn't do the whole job. So please put in the full answer and see who gets the classic card points. And also, y'all, there's an opportunity to get a lot of Raptor Freak trivia points tomorrow because we're off again tomorrow. And we're going to have Raptor Freak Tuesday trivia. I'll be writing the questions up this afternoon. And we will have a regular Raptor Freak trivia tomorrow, guys. So come in with your trivia heads ready because we're going to be doing it the old school way, the Raptor Freak trivia way. So, yeah, first of all, here's the classic card. Who knows who this player is? If you know who this player is, this guy's a very well-known player in some ways back in the day as far as his look. There's nobody else in this league that had this guy's look in some ways. They look just exactly like this. So who is the Milwaukee Buck? Why is there a guy on the floor? And who is that? That's Randolph Keys sitting on the floor. I can tell that. See, I'm good at picking other players too. That's Jeff Grayer in the back. Tell me who that first player is, though. The main player in there, the Buck that's the card for. But, yeah, I can name the other guys. Randolph Keys and Jeff Grayer are in the picture with him. But who is the main player here? The white guy, obviously. This guy with the flat top, Larry Kristoyak. That's a good guess. That was a white guy on the Bucks around this time, but that is not the right one. It is not Larry K. Let's see if you can see him up close and see if you can remember his name. I will give clues on his name, but I do want a couple more guesses. But that's a good guess, Reggie. It's not exactly right. But this is the same time period, obviously, in Milwaukee Bucks history. Larry K was on the team at the same time as this gentleman who played forward for the Bucks also. They were both forwards too, so that's a good guess. Nobody else wants to give a stab at it here. 76% say no to the Luka trade. I like that. I'm with you guys. Bobby and Masai will pick the right player with the right mindset to plug in. Yeah, I like that. I trust in Bobby Masai to do that. Frost? You think the guy's name is Frost? Well, you're half-assing, first of all. It is not one of his names. So that is not right. Frost is not right. Frost. Yeah, you know what? In some ways, you've got some of the right letters. I would say that, Bryce Lawson. All the letters in the word you wrote are in this guy's name. Isn't that a little bit of a word puzzle? There you go. Every single one of the letters in the word Frost are in this man's name. Yeah, Stargate saying, no, it's not Larry. Y'all make sure you're live. Make sure you hit the live button in the corner. Y'all may be a little bit behind on the stream. And make sure you're actually live because you won't get in here and get the classic card on time ahead of somebody else if you're not live on the stream. It's not Larry Kristoyak. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And that's a good clue. All the letters in the word Frost are in this guy's name, just so y'all know. Yeah. Nobody wants this. All right. Should I give you guys some clues? All right. Let's see. What's a good clue? Greg Foster. That's a good guess, Bryce, but no, it's not Greg Foster. He did play for the Bucks. He's a little bit later than this guy. Greg Foster was in the late 90s. This is early 90s. And I don't think Greg Foster was in the league yet at this point. All right, the first name of this guy is a guy who very famously had a neighborhood. So there you go. If you know the first name of a guy who had a famous person who had a neighborhood, you'll know the first name of this player. Now, I don't know if I'll give you the clue for the last name yet, but if you can get the first name, maybe I'll give you the clue to the last name for after that. So yeah, he has the first name, same as somebody who had a famous neighborhood. Yeah, if you know that, you can figure it out. Yeah, neighborhood. What? A famous neighborhood? Yeah. Think about that. Think about that clue, and you will know their first name because their first name is the same as the person who had a neighborhood. That's right. The last name, I guess, since you guys aren't guessing and getting this right away. Let me see. What's a good? Okay, this guy's last name is the same last name as the the lead Supreme Court Justice of the United States. He has the same last name as the head of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States right now is the same last name as this player, and his first name is a guy who had a neighborhood. Yeah, so that should tell you it right there. That should be easy at this point. Man, you guys are just not on it. We're slugged easy. We're slugged easy. We need slugged easy in here to get this card real quick. First name, very famous person who had a neighborhood. And then second name is Chief Justice of the Supreme Court's last name. So you can figure it out. If you know those two names, you got the name of the player. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm right. Oh, come on now. Why is this like pulling teeth, y'all? We got to know our classic cards. We're old heads. We should know this. Come on now, Raptor Freaks. Come on. I gave you really good clues. You have no idea, Stargate? Well, do you know the last name of the Chief Supreme Court Justice of the United States right now? That'll give you the last name. And the first name is somebody who had a neighborhood. It's probably the most famous neighborhood. If you're thinking of the word neighborhood, who had a neighborhood that's famous? And that's the first name of the person who had the neighborhood. It's not that hard. This is actually really easy from those clues. But I see you guys are having trouble. Think about who had a neighborhood, man, like from your childhood. How about that? He had a neighborhood in your childhood. And if you know his first name, you know this guy's first name. There you go. You're not going to spoil it. Trucker Cass figured it out, but he doesn't want to ruin the idea. Well, I might ask you to. You know, that's the old thing I used to do with Amit the Goat. Is like, yeah, don't spoil it if you looked it up. Give him a chance. But if I'm in trouble and I'm flailing here and nobody's getting it, we will go ahead and just give it up, and you can tell us. All right, Kaz? Because I'll say if nobody gets it in the next minute or so, I'm gonna allow you to do that. Come on, y'all. Who had a neighborhood? Who had a neighborhood? And talking about kids shows. Come on now. That's easy. Rogers Roberts. Well, you didn't listen to Clue, Neil. The first name of who had a neighborhood, not their last name. Come on now. Come on, now you're close. You could get seagulled right here because you don't have it right exactly. You really don't have it right. But I will say you're most right. You got the right two people. You got the last name right. You just ain't got the first name right. Yeah. Yeah. It's the first name of the guy who had the neighborhood, not the last name. Yeah, you're so close, Neil. Cass, just seagull it. Seagull it. You could get it from this if you know it. Go ahead and write it in. Go ahead and write it in. He's not. I don't mind you doing it because he got it mostly, but he didn't get it exactly right. And Kaz, it's fine. You go ahead and write it in. I don't mind. He doesn't want to do it though. He doesn't want the points. So I'm just saying, who's going to get these points? We need to get this right here. Who is this player, y'all? Oh my gosh, he's feeling bad because y'all don't remember him. I remember Randolph Keys and Jeff Grayer. Why does nobody remember this weird flat top guy? Oh my gosh. Somebody just write it in, please. Seriously. Y'all gonna make me twist in the wind. You're gonna make my stream go to 3 hours because y'all are taking so long here. I'd like to get it done. You only know him as Mr. Rogers. You don't know he has a real first name, that he is his real name. So you don't even know what his first name is. Bryce has got it. It's Fred Roberts. Thank you. Finally, somebody put me out of my misery here. Fred Roberts, Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighbors. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? I've always dreamt of having a neighbor just like you. Yeah, Fred Rogers, a great, great man, a great, great role model. Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and of course, Chief Supreme Court Justice John Roberts. So Fred Roberts is the card today. Y'all didn't remember Fred Roberts. He's sad. He's sad, man. He was actually a rotation player, guys. He wasn't totally a scrub. He was a backup power forward, actually, guys. We're talking about backup power forwards today. Well, Fred Roberts was the backup point guard for the Milwaukee Bucks in the early 90s. Yeah, Kaz was saying I was holding out and it paid off. Nice, Bryce. You're a nice guy, Kaz, for not just coming in and getting it. And I'll give Bryce Lawson, this was difficult, man. I don't understand why it took y'all so long. But we're going to give Bryce 200 points. In some ways, I'm just happy he got it because I wanted to move on. Serious, I just want to end the segment. I'm serious, man. Come on now. Blackhawks saying Casey and Finnegan were the only first names I knew on that show. Well, that's Mr. Dress Up, bro. You're getting shows confused. Now, to be honest, Mr. Dress Up started on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I don't know if y'all knew that. Mr. Dress Up worked on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood before he made Mr. Dress Up here in Canada. Casey and Finnegan were on Mr. Dress Up. And that's not the same show. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was more based in the United States. And yeah, next time you'll say Flintstones. Yeah, that's too easy to get the name Fred. I figured people know who Fred Rogers is from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I don't know. Either way, I understand how you got Mr. Dress Up and Mr. Rogers confused because they were a similar kind of role on TV for kids. That's for sure. All right, let me do the wrap up, guys. Real quick, let's see if there's any kind of breaking news on Blue Skies right now. I don't think there is. Yeah, it's like Blake Murphy's talking about Jays on the Raptors show instead. So he's talking about the Jays because of Vlad's extension on the Raptors show today. That's what Blake's saying right there. Raptors Reddit, what do you have going on your silliness? Best dressed in Raptors history? It's got to be Garrett Temple, right? Is it? Or are they saying it's Brandon Ingram? I don't know. Who's the best dressed in Raptors history? I think that it may be Serge Ibaka. It could be OG Anunoby. I don't know. When it's the end of the season, but it means it's closer to the draft lottery. Okay. There's you just lost the Toronto Raptors, and there's Brandon Ingram wearing a hot dog costume. That's a little weird. I've never seen Brandon in that hot dog costume. Well, that's fun. We're almost there, folks. Say it with me. You just lost to Raptors 905. That's just mean. Why are they saying that to them? The Nets were playing a G League style team too. And we did have RJ out there. So come on now. It's not Raptors 905 just because one of them's from the 905. That's all. Throwback. To me, he's a no-brainer. A high lottery pick. Scotty Barnes will arrive at FSU amid a ton of hype. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Jamal Shedd's assist to turnover ratio over the last 10 games, 3.8 to 1, 65 assists to 17 turnovers. That's beautiful. That is awesome. I love that. One of the Raptors Reddit people posted watching Common Watch get 0 rebounds in the biggest game of his life. So Raptors fans on Raptors Reddit are noticing that maybe there's some issues there. All right, we have a birthday today. Happy birthday to Brittany Donaldson, guys. It is Brittany's 32nd birthday today. Former assistant coach and champion with the Raptors, Brittany Donaldson is most recently on the Atlanta Hawks on Quinn Snyder's team and staff. So, yeah, happy birthday to Brittany, a Raptors champion from our 2019 year as an assistant coach. You're awesome. Oh, the Acadian Flycatchers are back. This is actually the first time I've seen them this year so far. They are using their nest that they used last year and the year before. And I'm very happy to see them back from their winter travels down south. They just showed up just now, Acadian Flycatchers. Very, very cool. I'm happy to see them. The female's watching out or one of them's watching out as the other one's setting up the nest to start their brood for this year. Very exciting. I'm glad to see that they're back and they'll be using the nest that they built last year once again. That's fantastic. All right, y'all, check out the Raptor Freak Discord. It's good, really good. If you guys haven't joined up, it's going to be a very interactive place and space for all of us to be at and interact and have really good times this summer. So be there or be square. I'm saying it right now, y'all. Be there, be square. Congratulations once again to Kaz and Peter Saborin for getting to the finals of our Raptor Freak Fantasy League. Good job, man. You guys went the long haul, and now one of the two of you will be the champion. So we'll have to see. The work is not done yet. You got a little bit more to do there. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Kaloy saying Vladdy has some serious bucks now. Yeah, he does. And Stargate saying, I don't remember this player. I remember Jack Sikma, Larry Kostoyak, Terry Cummings, Paul Pressey on the Bucks. Yeah, this guy was not that interesting, but he did play a lot. And he was in their rotation and part of their chemistry at that time. He wasn't the best player. Let's just put it that way. But he was out there. Yabba dabba doo. Never OG. There you go. Stargate saying, wait, wasn't Fred Roberts on the Celtics as well? I think I remember him playing on the Celtics, not the Bucks. He might have been on the Celtics also. I think he was. He started with the Jazz and went to the Celtics for 2 years, and then he was on the Bucks. I remember mostly from Milwaukee, though, myself. Yeah, Cass saying, W Stream, have a good one. You have a good one, man. Get your lineup set for tonight. You're on the championship road. This week is hard because it's the end of the season, and a lot of players will DMP that were helping you the whole season. That's why this is a tough time. It's very, very difficult to win because some of the people you relied on during the season are not going to be playing some of these end of the season games. So good luck, Cass. In some ways, I'm rooting for you, but I don't, I'm actually impartial. Peter was such a good champion this past year. And you know what? If he repeats, I won't be upset about that. But if you beat him also, I'll be very proud and happy for you too. And of course, Trevor J is always providing championships for these things. And I have something for you guys still already that Trevor sent me. So we'll send it out and we'll get the championship to whoever wins at the end. Either you or Peter is going to get it. Yeah, it'll be tough. He's very good, very, very good. And he beat his brother. And that in some ways is a testament right there. The Saborin Cup is a very serious thing in fantasy sports. These guys are, they're around each other and they talk trash while they're playing. And Peter won. Peter beat David. And that's impressive in itself. In some ways, the Saborin Cup is a big cup in itself, but winning the whole thing is a big one too. So Cass, we'll have to see if you got it to beat the champ that's currently the champ from last year. He's back in the finals. He can defend his title. We'll have to see if he does. All right, we are reacting to the Raptors' 29th win of the season over Brooklyn Nets, 11-point victory, 120-109. Fantastic job, Raptors. Looking at the team stats, y'all shot better than them. Y'all got more threes. You didn't do as well at the free throw line, but you did get one more rebound. Darko brought up that we like to get 30 assists in games. That's always a goal for the Raptors, and they got 30 on the nose. They also had less turnovers than the Nets, 19 turnovers to 24 for them, and that was good. And we dominated the paint, plus 10 points in the paint over them. So, yeah, great victory for the Raptors. My 5 stars of the game were Jonathan Mobo, Orlando Robinson, Cole Schweider, Jamison Battle, and Jamal Shed. We have 3 more games left in the Raptors season. On Wednesday, I'll do the preview for the last home game of the Raptors season against the Charlotte Hornets at Scotiabank Arena. And, yeah, tomorrow will be Tuesday trivia. So come in with your trivia caps on because we will be doing that. Y'all support Cora Breakfast. It's a great, fantastic Canadian franchise. I'm trying to elaborate and illuminate different options for not spending money on American companies, but supporting Canadian companies. And Cora is a great breakfast franchise that emanates out of the great province of Quebec. And Cora is a beautiful woman who made a fantastic Canadian company that employs Canadians and feeds Canadians. So go to Cora and get what they got because you will be proudly supporting the country of Canada when you do. That's what I'm saying right there. All right, y'all. Thanks again for watching me on a Monday with a reaction to victory over the Nets. Happy birthday, Brittany Donaldson. And, well, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Ready for trivia. Be there, be square, 9:30 a.m. We'll play the trivia tomorrow. I won't tell you the subject, but be ready to answer the questions and get your trivia points on. All right, let's go, Raptors. Please like, comment, subscribe, or share the channel if you want. Join the channel. You get access to our Discord channel. All right, let's go, Raptor Freaks family. And thank you for joining the Discord, and thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being a friend. Travel.